So I killed my first Miriam looking on the backside of Mount Rushmore.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
and I heard this bird gobble, and I laughed. I was like, "Is that a Jake, a young bird?" He said, "No, it's a full-grown bird." And I'm like, and it gobbled again. It was like, "Gobble, gobble, 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 gobble," like real high pitched. And I'm like, like, what kind of birds do you have here? Like, and he just kept on high pitched gobbling, and I ended up calling him in and shooting him in the face. But you know.
Welcome back, everybody, to the CF Podcast. We've got Kyle with us today.
What's up, guys?
Of course, myself, Clint, and we've got our dear good friend, Dave, 22 Plinkster. Thanks for coming, man.
Hey, man,
Welcome,
thanks for
man.
having me.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's always good to run into you on the floor when you're not a cardboard cutout, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
If you guys don't catch that reference, obviously you haven't been watching our SHOT Show coverage and our annual meet coverage in the previous years, because every time I seem to run into 22 Plinkster, it's been your cutout, whether it was like the CCI Stangers or whatever it was, I get up there and I do a quick little interview. I know you're busy. And then I actually run into you at Franklin Armory today.
So yeah, the CCI saves a lot of money by just having that cardboard cutout. So it's like, we don't really need him. We just put a cardboard cutout. No, actually, it's like a funny thing, that cardboard cutout started that I was supposed to attend SHOT Show, but I double booked myself for a hunt. And they're like, well, we're introducing your ammo here. And I'm like, I can't, like, this is a lot of money I've already put down for this hunt.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, we're just going to get a cardboard cut out of him. And I'm like, no, you won't. And sure enough, they did.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. And then did Ava Flanell actually steal that?
She says she did.
She says a lot of things.
She says a lot of things, but I don't think she actually stole it. I think that she actually took a picture of it and then had it printed her own copy of myself. So
okay.
I think that's what it was.
Gotcha.
But the original is still safe in Lewiston, Idaho.
That's great. Ava, if you're listening, we're on to you. All right, well, that's awesome, man. So let's actually just hop into it, because you'd already mentioned a hunt. And dude, I've been watching your channel for a long time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do some pretty cool shit, dude. I mean, the first of all, our first time hanging out, and we came up to Nashville and got to see you and shoot with you, and we did our Scar 17 collaboration, which was really cool. And I still will say though that your rifle was just zeroed.
Yeah, it was zeroed. Yeah, it had nothing to do with the trigger or anything, or the person pulling the trigger, or
exactly.
I think you had a hangnail that day and a rock in your shoe.
Yeah, and the sun was in my eyes.
And the sun was in your eyes, and that's exactly
too.
Yeah,
the barrel was bent right on that one.
Yeah, the barrel was bent too.
Yeah, but it's okay. I sabotaged you on purpose, and so it's my home course, so I'm not going to lose.
Fair enough. No, so we had an awesome time up there, man, and you showed us some of your trick shot stuff, and one of them was with that beautiful Volkortzen. And you were able to line up that red dot there and split a playing card in half. I actually still have both of the halves still laying.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, they're actually stapled on the wall in front of my desk at the office.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. And I still have the one that actually where I grazed. I almost cut it in half, but I just grazed it. And what got you into hunting, trick shots, all that stuff? I mean, was it something that, hunting, was that something you did as a kid growing up?
All right, so how long is this podcast going to be?
However long you want it to be.
So, all right, because that is you asked a lot of questions just with a couple of sentences.
I'm good with that. I'm good like that.
So let me give you a little bit of background. My dad was military, and so my dad got out of the Army. He was in the Army for like 5 or 6 years. Got honorably discharged. He was during Vietnam War, and then he was for a little while did security. And he worked for a security company, and then he opened up his own security company. And then about 1984, he was hired by the National Guard, Tennessee National Guard. And so his military time before then transferred over. My dad was over the physical security over all the military vaults in the state of Tennessee. So every county has a military vault. He was over all the physical security. And so my dad had me hunting, man, probably 4 or 5 years old. I was I had probably 3 or 4 acres behind my house. I had a creek that had big smallmouth, largemouth in it, perch, red eye, everything. And if you got the red eye reference, you're probably listening to this. You're from the South, so you know what a red eye is, also known as a goggle eye. And so, here's the thing with my dad. My dad was a expert with rifle, expert with pistol, expert grenade. So in the military. So they wanted my dad to become a sniper in the military. And my dad was a really good shot. However, my grandfather did not teach my dad how to shoot. my grandmother taught my dad how to shoot. And so my grandmother, she passed away 4 years ago. She was 98 years old. And 2 years before she died, she already killed over 300 squirrels in 1 year with a 22 rifle.
Oh my!
Now we're not talking about a 12 gauge. She was 5'2", maybe 90 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
But she was a deadeye. She had an old Browning BA, and that chambered .22 long rifle that my grandfather bought my dad in 1957, but it always stayed at the house. Now that firearm is in my safe, and I'll cherish it forever.
Right.
But it's she taught him to shoot. My dad taught me how to shoot. However, my dad taught me how to shoot with a BB gun, pellet gun.
Yep.
Okay, no Daisy pump up, 10 times maximum kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, because my dad came from the old school of not wasting ammo. There was no such thing as recreation shooting when I was a kid, even a teenager. Like, you did not go to the range, you did not go to the backyard and shoot 15, 20 times to practice.
Yeah.
There was none of that. So, honestly, all I could do is zero my gun in, whether it be a 22 or my 243 for deer hunting, then I went hunting.
Yeah.
And so my dad had this crazy rule. My dad did not accept missing, like, at all. Like, missing was not part of the vocabulary, even though he wouldn't let me practice. I would practice trigger control with the BB gun.
Right.
I used to shoot, this is not politically correct, but I used to shoot butterflies and dragonflies out of the air with my BB gun.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, and the little clothespins off the clothesline. Mama used to whoop the fire out of me for doing that, but I kept doing it. Well, anyways, so he wouldn't let me practice. But so, say for instance, Dad at say 12 years old, I would rather hunt than fish and play basketball than do anything in the world at that age. So Dad would hand me 10 Federal bulk box 36 grain, the 550 pack that you get from Walmart.
Yep.
He would hand me 10 of them. I would go squirrel hunting. If I came back with, say, 5 squirrels and only 2 rounds, I missed 3 times. That was 3 days I couldn't hunt.
Wow.
That was worse. That was worse than a whipping. I'm like, give me a whipping. Just go ahead and give me a whipping. Let's get this over with. Like, because I want to go hunting tomorrow.
Right.
Nope. 3 days you couldn't hunt. So
Damn.
That's where I learned not to miss. It wasn't through the volume. It was through, hey, you can't enjoy. It was almost being grounded for missing. Right. Now if you miss, oh well, just put another round in there. No practice. No, that wasn't Dad's philosophy.
Yeah.
Dad's philosophy is, you miss, that's the day you don't go hunting. So it was. I'm glad he trained me like that because I shoot a lot of ammo now just because I've got sponsorships and everything like that.
That helps.
Yeah, so that helps a lot. But I shoot 2,500 rounds a week every week of my life.
Yeah.
And some days I will shoot 2,500 rounds in a day.
Yep.
Depending if I get a new product out, a new firearm, and like, hey, the video needs to go tomorrow. I'm like, well, I'm not just going to turn on the camera and tell people my honest opinion. And I am not against anybody that does this, but I am not going to do an unboxing video. I just won't do it. They don't pertain to me. I don't find them interesting, so therefore I don't want my audience. But there are some people that really like unboxing videos. So I have a rule of thumb. I will not show a firearm on my channel unless I put 1,000 rounds through it.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Unless it's something like 500 Smith & Wesson or 460 or something,
Right.
But if it's rimfire, it's 1,000 rounds.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
So, and that's why I have a good cameraman. He just loads magazines. I shoot them, load magazines, shoot them. It's just like the other day, I got the Super Wrangler from Red Hawk.
Yep.
I mean, from Ruger.
Yeah.
And I got 2 of them in. I'm like, we've got to make this video today. However, I have 3 single 6s. I have like 7 Wranglers.
Yeah.
So I kind of know what I'm going with. I said, but I got to function test this. I said, I'm going to be in there doing emails, phone calls. Here are two revolvers. Here's 1,000 rounds of 22 Magnum. Here's 1,000 rounds of 22 long rifle. Call me when you're about done. So
John's listening to this like, Clint, please don't get any ideas.
But I owe it to my viewers. I honestly do. Because if I give a lot of positive, and I get a lot of a lot of people get upset with me for giving all positive feedbacks.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: I don't waste my time with junk.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just don't do it. I know enough people in the industry. I know enough, about the company. I know enough about the product that no, I don't want to do the video on that. Why? Well, because I'm just going to sit here and bash it. I'm like, there's plenty of other people on the internet that would love to have that opportunity. I'll let them do that. I want to put firearms and the firearms that I use in a good light,
Right.
not in a bad light. So,
Yeah.
but I will call out a few things that I don't like, and I will be 100% honest. But again, I don't waste my time with showing junk, and it doesn't have to be expensive to be, junk. The Ruger Wrangler, Super Wrangler. you're going to be able to pick that up for $250.
Yeah.
You know, guess what? It went and banged all 1,000 times we shot it. So never a problem. And I was hitting 4-inch plates at 100 yards, open sights with it. The accuracy's there. What do you want a $250 revolver to do? So,
right.
That's kind of it. But, now I can shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. And I've got really, honestly, the best job in the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So is your dad still alive?
Yes, my father's still alive. He's 70. He'll be 79 this December.
Does he still shoot?
Oh, man, he would love to.
Yeah.
And so I remember. So do you know what a high standard is?
Oh, yeah.
22 high standard. Okay. Well, of course you would in the line of business, but I have to tell people that because they quit making them, in the 80s.
Right.
And Dad had a 22 high standard, the Duramatic, with a 4-inch barrel. And, they weren't a really expensive gun back when they came out, but they functioned, okay? They were to compete against the Rugers, the Ruger Standards out there, and also the Colt Woodsmans, the Browning Challengers, things of that nature, for a third of the price. So Dad had that, had a leather holster, and I remember pulling up multiple times in the fall, early fall squirrel hunting when walnuts were on the trees and acorns and the beech nuts were on the trees, and the squirrels would spend a lot of their times on the end of the limbs, not really on the ground. And I remember Dad pulling up on several times with no station wagon saying, there's a squirrel up there at 80 yards. Pull out that 4-inch high standard, boom, call the headshot. Headshot, boom.
Wow.
And I'm just like, being a kid, I'm like, all right, that's cool. But being an adult and shoot now, I'm like, holy cow, that was awesome. But my dad, I love him to death, but he's had, at this point, 14 back operations. His whole back is titanium. He's had knee replacement, open heart surgery, elbow replacement. My dad's been operated on like 32 times in his life. And so, he's kind of feeble and he's old. And, when he brings up the gun, he's shaking really bad and it hurts him.
Yeah.
It's painful for him because he'll shoot like 10, 15, 20 rounds. And I can just see the emotion in his face, how much he wants to do it. Yeah. And he just can't do it. However, I took him deer hunting.
Yeah.
This past November, I had a place of mine that they were overran with deer.
Okay.
And the game warden wanted me to shoot between 75 and 100 deer off of it.
All right.
And it was right beside a golf course in town. So I had 6.5 Creedmoor suppressed. And multiple times I was going to take a shot on a deer, and I looked over and a guy was fixing to swing. I didn't want to mess the swing up. So, dogs barking, and there's 100 deer out in this little 40-acre field. So Dad wanted to go hunting, so I already had a blind set up. I pulled him right to the blind, and he sat down. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go up here and park the truck.
Yep.
There's going to be already deer out in the field. This is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, don't shoot the deer yet. Wait till I get back, because there were certain shooting lanes you don't shoot because of houses.
Man, a target-rich environment like that,
dude,
it's going to be difficult.
You have no idea. And so I get back into the blind, and so I had a bog stationed there, had the gun vise down. It was a Savage Ultralight 6.5 Creedmoor, had a Leupold VX6 HD, had the custom turrets with the 130 grain terminal scent. So I've killed, good grief, in 3 years I've probably killed 50 like large game animals with this gun, from nilgai to axis to deer. I think that gun this year killed probably 40. I mean, that gun this year killed like 45 deer. Just that one gun. So, because I had the custom turret. So, I've hit plates at 1,100 yards just dialing with no zero, just the gun's on with that ammunition.
Yeah, that Leupold custom shot is so cool, man, because depending on what load because for everybody that's listening, and you might not be all that familiar with Leupold, like they still support some of their older models that they don't even have out there anymore, like the Mark AR.
Yep.
And because man, it's so cool because it's like, all right, cool. Give us your ballistic coefficient, give us your grain, give us your projectile, all that stuff, and we'll make sure you get custom dials. So that way, for every click, it'll be accurate to your barrel and to your ammo.
Yep,
it's like, dude, that's cool.
Dead on. The longest shot I've taken on an animal was this year in Kansas, was 495. So right at 500 dropped her.
Yeah.
Like every deer that I shot this year was over 300 yards. Damn. Every deer. Dropped every one of them.
Yeah, and I want to go back just a second, too, because I know some people might be thinking about this, and they're like, oh, my goodness, that's a lot of animals and stuff like that. Now, I know you, and I know that your dad probably, whenever he popped that squirrel and stuff like that, and those squirrels, nothing went to waste, did it?
Absolutely not. Yeah. So my dad we used to go on Saturday mornings, and we would kill our limit of 10 to 20 squirrels. Yeah. Okay, our limit would be 20, but one of us would get our limit. So we may clean 12, 13, 14 squirrels. every Saturday. Well, he would put them in the freezer from September to probably about January or February, and we would have 150 squirrels. Okay, 150, 200 squirrels. That wasn't uncommon. Okay, you laugh like it's uncommon, but it's not uncommon.
That's a bunch of squirrels.
It's a bunch of tree rats. So, but he would give them to a guy. Like I said, he was at the National Guard. He would give them to the cook. And the cook would make squirrel and dumplings for the whole post in that one day. So nothing went to waste.
Dude,
so he
that's
would make
cool.
homemade biscuits and squirrel and gravy. And like, it was awesome. So
That's a lot better than a couple of MREs.
oh, that's a lot better to the guys on MREs. So squirrel is actually really good if you cook it right. But, I've got, one day I killed, like how the conversation went about this place was one of my best friends is the game warden. And he called me and he's like, Dave, you're a pretty good shot, aren't you? I'm like, dude, you shot with me a bunch. He said, okay, I just had to ask you. He said, you got suppressors, right? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. He was like, all right, I'll be at your house in 30 minutes. What are you doing? I'm like, well, tell me what we're going to do. He said, all right, I'm just picking up 30 minutes. We're going up the road. I'm like,
Oh boy, that sounds
okay.
like a mafia.
And he was like, I was like, so you want me to bring my 6.5? He said, yeah, bring your 6.5 Creedmoor. He said, bring about 3 boxes of ammo. I'm like, what are we going to do?
War.
And so we pull up to this house, and on the way he's explained to me, he's like, listen, I don't want to get a permit just to wipe out everything on this property. So his buddy owned 40 acres, okay, and it was in city limits. So you're not really supposed to shoot inside city limits, but I had law enforcement with him that gave me the exemption, and it had a bad problem. Out of that 40 acres, he had corn on it this year. And it's right beside the golf course, right along the river in a subdivision. And on that 40 acres, the day after they cut the corn, was 110 deer at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, my God.
His friend, or the guy that owned that 40 acres, lost 70% of his corn from the deer. 70%.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
So he was a loss. He didn't even cover really his fuel and fertilizer costs. So we honestly pull up. He said, get your gun ready. I'll get on the rangefinder. I'm like, okay. In Tennessee, you can kill 3 doe a day, and you're allowed 2 bucks all year. I haven't killed a buck yet in Tennessee. I killed one in Kentucky and in Kansas. So he's like, I don't care if it's a spike, because I do selective hunting. I don't shoot spike. I don't shoot small. I shoot mature. He's like, we're shooting button bucks. We're shooting everything, because if not, we're going to have to come in here and eradicate. Get a special deprivation permit to eradicate everything. So we pull up. We see about 45 deer in the field at 2 o'clock.
Oh, my God.
And he was like, all right, just go lay prone on a swimming pool. So I get on a swimming pool, pop out the bipod, and I get, and I'm like, sitting there snuggling behind the rifle, just taking my time, deer not going anywhere. And there was an 8-pointer out there. I'm like, range me. He said, 405. I said, okay. Click, 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 click. You on him? Yeah, I'm on it. Send it. Boom, boom, folded it. 405, 8-pointer, dropped him. And I said, all right, range that next closest doe. Boom. All right, 316. Boom, dropped her. Went to another doe. Boom, dropped her. Went to another doe. Boom, dropped her. Then I handed him the rifle, because I killed my 3 doe and my 1 buck.
Yep.
And then he dropped. So we killed 7 deer in 4 minutes.
My God.
Are you all about like hard shots? The long shots?
Yeah, so I like high shouldering.
Okay.
So so I shoot like, so there's the spine goes way down, with the deer, then it comes up into the backbone, okay? And if you high shoulder them, you can actually get the top part of the heart, okay? And so if you're shooting at the shoulder, you shoot about 2 inches high. You can actually, if the bullet is a good bullet and you have that
expansion.
You can get the top part of the heart. You can get the inside lobe of the lungs. But what that does, it shocks the spine, drops them.
Done. So
very humane. Probably one of the most humane shots you can take. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I don't want to double lung this deer and then it goes lay in Betsy's flower bed next door. So I had to drop every one of them.
That's
and
pretty
I did.
Awesome. Yeah. What, 7 in 4?
7 in 4 minutes. We ended up killing. I started taking kids and my dad and brother like, hey, you ever killed a deer? You want to go kill some? So I was taking kids. I was taking everybody up there, get them all set up and dialing the scope. Everybody dropped. I told them exactly. Everybody was dropping them left and right.
Man,
that federal terminal sent. People. We can have the debate whether the 6.5 Creedmoor is strong enough for deer or anything like that. I'm like, I have killed so many critters with 6.5 Creedmoor. I know, and again, I'm not bragging about federal. It's the bullet technology.
Yeah,
that bullet will expand at 1,100 yards. So it's not going to punch through and through. It's actually going to pedal at 1,100 yards.
Wow.
And the BC on it is just ridiculous. It's like a match bullet for a hunting round.
Dang, man. That sounds incredible.
It's expensive. You better break out your pocketbook when you buy them, but
it's effective.
They're worth every penny.
Yeah,
it's
you
like
get what you pay for.
It's like TSS, turkey loads,
Yeah.
tungsten. And, you're paying $13, $14, $15 per shot. And, I kind of had this conversation with the people at Federal years ago. And I was talking to the guy that had with shotgun technology and developed shotgun loads. And I was on my way to Missouri on a turkey hunt. This is probably 5-6 years ago. And I'm an avid turkey hunter.
Yeah.
I'm talking, I will shoot every bird in the face that I can possibly shoot. All right. Yes. I eat, sleep, and drink it. I've killed over 100 longbeards. I've killed 6 Grand Slams. I'm working on my 7th Grand Slam.
Man, I bet Thanksgiving at the Nashes is a good time.
So yeah. we had this conversation. I was on my way to Missouri on a turkey hunt. I'm like, listen, Federal, in my opinion, makes the best target range ammo with American Eagle, 9mm 40. It's affordable, it's accurate, it's reliable. I said their sister company, CCI, makes the most reliable, most dependable, rimfire ammunition in the world. I said your clay shotgun loads, you got your gold medal, which the Olympians use.
Right.
Then you have your self-defense ammo. You got Spear Gold Dot, and then you've got HST. And then on top of that, I'm like, you've got the great hunting loads, and then you have the staple for accuracy of long range shooting was Federal Gold Medal Match.
Yep.
That's what it was for 25 years. I'm like, why do your turkey loads suck so bad? And I'm like, they were like, well, they need improvement. And I'm like, yeah, they do. And I'm like, I don't mean to put it blunt, but but before YouTube and everything, I shot Winchester number 5s.
Yeah.
I can go to Walmart, pick up 10 of those things for like $8. Last me a season and a half. Now, they didn't pattern great, but I like to call the birds a little bit closer.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, we're kind of working on a few things. And he said, we really want to go to this TSS, this tungsten super shot.
What was so bad about it?
Well, it just, the density, the wad configuration just wouldn't pattern. So it would pattern, but it wasn't great compared to other stuff that's on the market that was same price or less than. Okay.
Gotcha.
And so, and I'm just being honest. And so he was like, yeah, we're trying out this TSS stuff. And he said, but people are not going to buy it. And I'm like, why won't they buy it? And I already knew what TSS is because of nitro loads back in the 90s. And he said, they're going to be $12, $14, $15, sometimes $20 a shot. Ain't nobody going to pay for that. I'm like, you are totally underestimating turkey hunters. I said, you don't turkey hunt. And he was like, well, I've killed 1 or 2. I'm like, you're not a turkey hunter.
Yeah.
And I was like, you build this shot, you will not be able to sell enough. If it's the best on the market, you won't be able to sell enough. He's like, well, how do you know? I say, perfect example. I'm driving to Missouri right now. I've got probably $300-400 worth of camo. I've got $1,500 in a shotgun. I've got $120 in a choke. I am using probably, $50-75 worth of gas. I've got $300 worth of calls in my pocket. I'm fixing to spend $400 on a license. What is a $20 shot knowing that bird's going to be dead at 50 yards?
Right. I mean, that's the logic there is
very
sound.
logical. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm like, he said, all right, we'll think about it. So they built TSS. They had a hand load. They hand loaded like 5,000 rounds. So the machines weren't set up to do it. They introduced it at NWTF, National Wildlife Turkey Federation, which is in my home state of Tennessee every year. When I walked in, it opened up at like 9 o'clock. I walked in at like 9:10, and I see this line, and I'm like, what's this line for? I thought it was for, for Chuck Norris or somebody, And I go, and I kept following it around to Federal. And I'm like, what's the line for? It's like, we only brought like 2,000 boxes of TSS, and we sold out in an hour of 1,000, and we had to save 1,000 for the next day for the other people that are coming in because it's a 2-day show. And I'm like, told you so.
Wow.
So
that is
like
insane.
The real turkey hunter will spend that money.
So did you get a little contribution there?
A
little off the.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
They give me all the TSS I could ever shoot.
Right, so yes.
So that's pretty much gold.
Dude, that's freaking awesome, man. So backing up just for a second. So your hunting and your accuracy. kind of fall right in line because your dad didn't allow misses, right? So, and you got into hunting obviously at a young age, and that was small game and working your way all the way up to big game and everything. And I think whenever you and I were hanging out, like I said, our first time shooting and stuff like that, where you kind of shot a little bit better than me, but whatever.
Just a little bit.
I got lucky.
Just a little bit. Yeah, that's exactly right. The sun wasn't in your eyes. But
weren't we facing the same direction?
Anyway, but I think you said something that it was like you did something. I think it was like a CD. There's something like a CD spinning or something like that, and you just sent it to one of your friends. And I think he said something about uploading it. I can't remember if that was a story or not.
Okay. So the very first video I ever put up on YouTube.
Yes.
All right. I didn't start I didn't even know YouTube had gun stuff on it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch gun videos, even though I was good friends with Hickok 45. Been good friends with him ever since I was 17 years old.
Right.
All right. So I didn't know he was doing YouTube at the time. You had the FBS Russia. You had the 10 Outdoors 9. You had James Yeager, rest in peace.
Oh, yeah.
You had, there was only, you had
Iraq Vet was out.
Iraq Veteran. And there was a couple. There was only like 10 or 12 gun channels. Okay.
Right.
I didn't watch them because I was like, I tried to watch Greg one time, after the fact I knew he was making you. I'm like, this is hilarious. Why would anybody do this? I was like, this is painful. Because I knew Greg. So,
Right.
And so I was like, I didn't want to do YouTube. So the show Top Shot came out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, show Top Shot came out. It was season 2. And Dustin Ellerman was on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like Dustin Ellerman right off the get-go because he's hyper. He's got ADD just like me. He was a Christian camp director.
Yeah.
I'm like right on there. And then on top of that, he was a self-taught shooter. Just like me.
Yep.
My dad didn't have me going through drills. He taught me how to breathe and trigger control and how to properly put a stock and hold a gun. So I was like, you know what? This dude's just like me. We're like two peas in a pod. So I was like, I'm gonna root for this guy. So I ended up rooting, and he's like stomping all these Navy SEALs and Green Berets and all this.
Yeah, that checks out.
And I was like, that's so awesome. And I remember what won him the competition that got him into the final round is he shot a Vakortsen 22 rifle at a golf ball at 100 yards. And I was like, oh, wow, if he pulls this shot off, who is this right? I'm looking at this rifle. I'm like, that is the prettiest thing I ever saw in my life, I was like, yeah, that thing should be able to hit 1,000,000 golf balls at 1,000,000 yards, And so he whacks this golf ball at 100 yards, which there's, long story short, Dustin, when he picked that, he knew no one was going to hit that golf ball.
Yeah.
Because he picked that gun up the day before to practice like everybody. No one picked up the 22 to practice because it's a 22.
22, exactly.
He get it, and he knew it shot 2 inches right and 4 inches low.
It's all about knowing your gear.
It's all about knowing your gear. So he was like, I'm not adjusting the sights. I'm going to leave this, and if I have a chance to choose it, that's what he did. Smacked the golf ball. Everybody else whipped
That's
it.
smart.
So because they were putting it right on
No,
it.
my sergeant was on that show. My
Oh,
old
really?
sergeant, yeah. I don't know if you remember. You may not. Sarah Aarons, female.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's my sergeant for
That's
years.
awesome.
Yeah, she's listening. Shout out to her.
Yeah, shout
we still
out.
talk. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's funny. We each have a Top Shot friend then, because mine was Brian Zins.
No way.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, Brian Zins. He used to work over at Point Blank Range.
We
in
didn't have a
Memphis.
Top Shot party.
Yeah, honestly, we
Yeah.
need it. All right, you invite Sarah. I
Yeah,
get Brian. You
sounds
get
good.
Dustin.
I
Let's
love
go,
that
let's do it.
show. I loved it, but
Yeah.
it was not cost effective for the History Channel to do it because all the high speed stuff, and there were no retakes. So they had like 4 high speed cameras capturing every shot, and to rent those things out were like $10,000 a day back then.
Oh,
a piece.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're looking at $40,000 a day just to rent the high speed stuff out. So, but anyways, Dustin makes that shot. The next day, I am talking to one of my best friends. His name is Gibby. So, Gibby, if you're listening, I'm finally giving you credit. Gibby was stationed in the Navy in Jacksonville, Florida. And we were talking about, I used to work on alarm systems. I serviced like houses, businesses. I worked on fire systems, cameras, everything. So I would average 300 miles a day. I would cover 9 counties, And so I had a lot of road time. So I'm like, got a list of my friends every day that I called, and Gibby was one of those. And we were talking about the show. He's like, that was the biggest luck shot that Dustin Ellerman ever did. And I'm like, well, dude, if you have the right equipment and you know your guns, you can do it. I've shot squirrels at 100 yards, And he was like, bull. He said, you can't do it. I'm like, I can do it. And he's like, there's no way you can hit a golf ball at 100 yards with a 22 rifle. I was like, and he kind of hurt my feelings a little bit,
22, Plinkster was born.
Yeah, right.
And so I was like, all right, when I get home from work, I will put up a golf ball at 100 yards, but I won't do it with the rifle. I'll do it with the pistol. And he said, there's no way.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'll prove you wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I got home, I changed clothes and I put on my Mid-South Shooter Supply hat. And no sponsor, by the way. Honestly, they're not sponsored. They have never sponsored me. They're just local, and I love the people. It's a family-owned business.
Shout out to them. Yeah.
And so I backed up at 100 yards. So when I first get up there, I didn't have a video camera. I had the original Droid.
Oh, man.
The original Droid, the first one, Droid X.
So how could you tell you hit the golf ball when you couldn't even see what the video quality
It was 720, 24 frames per second.
Oh,
all right, give me a little credit. All right.
720.
So I had it, and I had a makeshift. I put a 2x4, and I put duct tape around my phone to hold it up there. And I remembered, people, if you're listening, do not type in 22 Plinkster's first video or 22 Plinkster golf ball shot. You will fall asleep in 30 seconds. It is. So I get up there, and I want to make eye contact with the camera because I've never spoken in front of a camera. And I'm like, Dustin Ellerman hit a golf ball at 100 yards with a rifle, so I'm going to do it with the pistol. So, and then I just start walking. And so, like 90% of the video is me walking 100 yards.
There's no cuts, no edits.
Oh, no. It's like uploaded directly from the phone. Okay? And so I walk, and I went, miss. And you hear the bullet kind of zipping by the camera, and golf ball went flying, second shot. So I got up there, and I'm like, look, I did it on the second shot. And I looked, and I'm like, crap, I forgot to hit the record button.
Oh, no.
So I couldn't use the same golf ball because
Right.
I already had a hole in it. So I go back in the house, and I'm looking for a golf ball everywhere. So I'll find another golf ball, put it up there, and I go through the whole spiel again. Dustin Hellerman hit a golf ball at 100 yards with the 22 rifle. Now I'm going to do it with the 22 pistol. So I take off walking. Third shot, golf ball goes flying, put it up there, uploaded it to YouTube where my buddy could watch it. And I couldn't upload it because I was user unknown. Like, what was it called? The first days I used YouTube when you didn't have an account.
Oh, okay. So you just
Basic
didn't have an
user or
account.
something.
Yeah, right.
They're like, you must create a channel name.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like, well, what am I going to, like, I don't really want to create a channel name because I just wanted to show him this video. It's too big to send in a text because it's 3 minutes of me walking, you know. And so he gets up there, and I try to upload. I'm like, what can I? All right, I'm shooting a 22. All right, 22, and I'm a child of the 90s. Okay,
Yep.
So my name is Dave. but everybody called me Davester. You know,
Davester.
back
I
in
was
the
the
early,
Plinkster.
back in the early 90s. Hey, Davester, what's up? Yeah. So I was like, all right, how about, when you're shooting a 22, it's like plinking. So how about 22 Plinkster? But, all right, that's not
There you
taken.
go.
All right, sure, let's go with it. Uploaded the video.
It wasn't taken?
No, it wasn't taken. So back then, only like 75 people were on YouTube. And so I uploaded, and I had to upload it 3G because I didn't have Wi-Fi at my house. I didn't have internet, high-speed internet at my house. I lived
What
down
year
in the
is
boonies.
this?
This would have been 2000. Well, it would have been 11 years ago.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So whenever that was.
2012 then, right?
Yeah,
My
2000.
math is
Yeah,
not good.
it was December 2012.
Yeah.
And so I uploaded, and it would literally take, it was honestly, I would get like 60 minutes in to upload the video, and someone would call,
Oh, no.
and boom, knock it out. And so this went on for 3 days, me trying to upload this
Wow.
video. So finally, I was like, you know what? He's on me because I told him I made the shot. I'm going to upload it at 10 o'clock at night when I go to bed. Hopefully nobody calls me. So
There
I
you
did
go.
it. It went through. The next morning, I copied the link, texted to him. He laughed about it. We laughed about it. That was it. That's all I wanted YouTube for. That's it. So I'm like,
Somebody else must have talked shit. You made another video.
okay, I did.
Obviously.
I did. Okay, so to make a longer story longer, I was at work. I guess this was about 4 weeks later. Forgot all about that stupid video.
Yeah.
I was at work, and I'm driving. All of a sudden, I get an alert on my phone. It said, you got a message on your video. I'm like, what video are they talking about? I forgot about that stupid thing, And it said, a guy said, nice shot. And I'm like, what? Oh, he's talking about that stupid golf ball. So
Your nature walk.
My nature walk. I logged into the account, and it was like 46 views. And I'm like, 46 people wasted their time and watched this video. This is the most painful video in the world. And so I replied back. It took me I think I actually had to Google how to reply back to somebody through mobile at that time, okay? Because the app wasn't that great.
Right.
So I replied back, thanks. That's it.
Yep.
And then it was like 2 weeks later, I get another comment on it, and I looked, and it's like 103 views. Are you kidding me?
Getting there.
I'm like, why are people watching this dumb video? And so, anyways, to make a long story short, about 2 months later, this guy commented, and he was like, can you, what was it? He said, I always heard the old timers say that they could split a bullet. Can you split a bullet?
Oh, here it is. Yeah.
And I was like, yes.
Yes.
And so, like a week later, he messages me again, because back then you could send direct messages through YouTube.
Oh, right.
All right,
yeah.
they were like DMs.
Yeah.
And he's like, where's your video? I'm like, what video are you talking about? He's like,
You just asked me a question.
yeah. And he's like, oh, I asked you if you could split a bullet with it on an axe or something. I'm like, and I told you yes. He said, well, I want to see you do it. I'm like, okay. So I go home from work. I duct tape that droid back onto that 2x4. I set it up, and I set this old janky machete up like this right here, and I put a piece of paper behind it. And the video is like honestly 14 seconds long. You hear, and I'm in the back. You can't even see me. And it's
Right.
like, psh, psh, second shot, split. That was the end of the video.
Also 22 caliber?
Also 22 caliber.
Yep.
And I'm like, and he was like, that was awesome. Well, can you do this? And so the same guy for like 2 weeks, I'm like, this is kind of fun. It gives me something to do after work, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm not hunting right now. I'm not like digging ginseng. I'm not like fishing. So I was like, it gives me something to do. Well, again, to make a long story longer, how I kind of took off, I think in the first year, about a year, I had 36 subscribers and probably a total of 2,000 views.
Yeah.
Okay. Out of those 36 subscribers were 30 of my closest friends and family I told to subscribe to. So I think I even subscribed to myself at the time. But I didn't know you can make money on YouTube. I was just like, this is fun.
Yeah, right.
It's shooting. It's like, and then, I got this free editing software like on this laptop and all this stuff. So I was plugging in my Droid phone into my computer and like editing, just making basic cuts.
Oh, yeah.
Very basic.
Cut the walking part.
Yeah, exactly. Cut the walking and most of the talking. And so I started doing that, and then Greg Hickok, he called me and he's like, "What are you doing, David?" And I'm like,
That was really good.
Yeah, thanks. And I was like, "No, nothing much, Greg. What are you doing?" He was like, "You want to come over and shoot?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like, sure, I'll come over." So I brought my Colt Woodsman.
Yeah.
All right. If you're familiar with the channel, the Colt Woodsman's kind of what started everything for me. It was a friend of mine. He was 103 years old. When he passed away, he willed me his Colt Woodsman that he bought brand new in like 1960 or something like that.
That's cool.
And then he gave me another Colt Woodsman that he bought brand new in 1942. So he had first series match target.
Dang.
And so I was using that pistol, and I was over at Greg's, and excuse me, Hickox. I keep calling. I need to cut his name out. And so I'm sitting there just shooting the gong. And I'm shooting his turkeys and whatever. And he was like, "You shoot that thing pretty good." And I'm like, "Well, thanks, And so I got, I wasn't even thinking. I picked up a spent 9mm casing, flipped it up there, boom, shot. He was like, "Can you do that again?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I threw up another one. I missed, threw up another, boom, took off. He was like, "You need to put that on YouTube." I'm like, "Greg, I've got stuff like this on YouTube. Nobody watches." So I'm not Hickok 45, I don't have 10,000 subscribers like you do. And so let me get a drink of Coke here.
You're good. And I remember when we were at your range and we're shooting, and then all of a sudden we heard gunshots. One goes, "Oh, Hickok's shooting."
Yeah, Hickok's shooting. So a lot of people are like, "Why are you shooting at Hickok's range?" I'm like, "No, his range is about 2 miles behind me."
Yeah. Right.
So and so he was like, "Well, what's your channel name?" I'm like, 22 Plinkster. You're Hickok 45. I want to be 22 Plinkster. And kind of joking. We laugh. We go in and we have some coffee and everything. And so my girls were really young at that time.
Yeah.
And so I remember I had all the notifications turned on my phone. Every time YouTube, somebody subscribed to me, every time somebody sent me a message, every time somebody left a comment, I got, the ringtone. Yeah. So I'm sitting in bed, and it's real quiet, and I'm trying to get her to sleep. She was probably about 2 or 3 at the time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get her to sleep. I'm like, "Hey, it's time to go to sleep." And all of a sudden, my phone goes off. I'm like, Hickok 45 subscribed to me. All right, cool, whatever. So then my phone started going,
oh, no.
Oh, boy.
So because back then, when a larger channel or any channel subscribed to you, it came up in the feed.
Yeah.
If they liked the video, it came up in the feed that when they were looking at his channel, Hickok 45 liked this video. Hickok 45 subscribed to this channel.
Yeah.
My phone started going crazy. And I was like, and I texted him, I'm like, "What did you do?" He said, I just want to subscribe to you, man. I'm like, thanks. All right. So by like the next morning, I had like 500 subscribers. So I went from 36 to 500. And I'm like, I'm a freaking YouTuber. That's right.
I've made it.
I've made it. And so, probably when I would put out a video, Greg would like the video.
Yeah.
Come up. I would get another 100 subscribers. So this went on for like, it would give me anxiety. Honestly, it would, because, I didn't know you could make money. I didn't care about being big. I just wanted to put I hate using this word, but a talent out there for people to see that was a lost trait, from Annie Oakley and Bob Munden and Tom Knapp. Not that I'm comparing myself with those people at all. Those were the greatest. But I wanted to bring it back because this is stuff I did with a BB gun growing up because my dad wouldn't let me waste ammo. All right?
All right.
So I got up to like 1,000 subscribers and like 10,000 total views in about a year and a half, 2 years. YouTube sent me a letter and said, hey, would you like to become a partner? I said, absolutely. What does this mean?
Yeah, right.
And they were like, hey, you can start making money. I'm like, hot dog. So I started making videos, and, they would get a couple thousand views in a month. But back then, they paid really, really well. Okay. Right. I honestly, if a video got 10,000 views back then, it would be equivalent to a video of 500,000 views now.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's why the platform was a lot smaller then.
Smaller, and my CPM was like $14, $15 dollars. A CPM. Now it's like $1. Yeah. Like $1. Not even that. Probably it's probably like 1 millionth of a cent. Yeah. And so I was like, this is awesome. So after about 3 months, I saved up $364 and bought my first Sony Handycam at a pawn shop.
Look at that.
Yes, sir.
Not a tripod, a camera.
You would think I would go with the tripod, but there was nothing wrong with that 2x4. I had plenty of Gorilla Tape. And so awesome. I used that Sony Handycam, and I found out real quick that my computer couldn't handle 1080.
Oh, shit.
Like the processing was way too slow. And I was like, and it would just sit there and render for like, honestly, an hour and a half for a 2-minute video with only like 6 cuts on 1080. Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm going to have to buy a new laptop. So I saved up for like 3 or 4 months. I sold a kidney. And no, I didn't sell a kidney.
Yours.
Not that
Not
time.
yours.
No, not mine. So I told you I spent a lot of time on the border. But my friend worked at, you remember H.H. Gray? Did y'all have H.H.
Oh,
Gray?
Yeah.
My buddy who watched my channel, which I didn't know him, I walked in and said, hey, you're 22 Plinkster, aren't you? I'm like, maybe. And he was like,
who are you?
And I was like, hey, I'm here to buy a computer. I need a new computer. He's like, dude, I've got a sweet deal for you. He said, I've got this Bose HP with a it's a gaming laptop. And he said, the guy had it for 2 weeks, brought it back. Well, we can't sell it new. He said it was a $1,200 laptop. Now, this is 10 years ago. $1,200 for a laptop was a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And he's like, I'll sell it to you for $400.
That's a deal.
And I'm like, sold. Because I told him I had a $400 budget. And so I got it. And, man, I used that thing for, good grief, 3 years. And then I was introduced to the wonderful world of Apple.
Oh, yeah.
And I will never look back. So I've been editing off of Apple now for, probably about 8 years.
Right.
So, but yeah, and now, starting with a $365 Sony Handycam, now every video I'm running $25,000 with the camera and audio gear. So, but, it's, I've been very blessed. It's people say, you've got the luckiest job in the world or the best job. You're the luckiest person. I'm like, you don't understand. I did this for 2 years. Working a full-time job of 50 hours, working 2 other jobs on top of that to provide for my family, as a hobby. I'm like, I work my tail off. They're like, well, you got an ammo sponsor. Well, I shot my own ammo for 5 years to get to this point. That's what, Michael Jordan just didn't walk into like the Bulls one day and said, hey, I want to start playing for you guys without playing in college or anywhere else and putting in the time. Not that I'm comparing myself to Michael Jordan, but go ahead.
Well, you were just saying, this is beautiful, honestly. You said you had 36 subscribers and then 500. That's like a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was, right? How many videos did you upload on average?
Oh, goodness. I was doing 1 or 2 a week.
Yeah.
Okay, so think about this. For a solid year, year and a half with 30, 50, 500, whatever subscribers, you never stopped.
No.
So
I enjoy doing it. Not that I wanted to make money.
Yeah.
I just enjoy doing it.
But a lot of people just stop. They're like, oh, nobody's watching me.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere
Oh,
or whatever.
yeah.
So you were consistent. You were at it. And guess what? You pay the dues.
Yeah.
And
there you are.
And like I said, I've been very fortunate for the right people to come in my life at certain times, certain companies that saw a value in me. So the reason why I wear this shirt and this, well, I don't usually wear these shirts and videos, but I wear this hat every single video. Every single video, you'll see a Mid-South Shooter Supply hat. The reason being, when I had 36 subscribers, I always bought my reloading stuff from them. You know, I lived about 30 miles from them. I always bought my reloading stuff from them. I bought my hunting stuff from them because I wanted to support local.
Yeah.
And I told them, I'm like, yeah, I'm starting this YouTube thing now, and you know, like, and back then it was the 22 apocalypse where you couldn't hardly find 22.
Man,
The first
I
one.
remember that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there was
There was
one,
a second one, too,
then
yeah.
there was another one, and then there was a really bad one.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not asking for a sponsorship or anything like that, but if you give me a shirt or something, like I'm always looking for clothes to wear in video instead of my button-up shirt. I can't because my wardrobe pretty much consisted of my company's clothes because that's what I wore every day. And they were like, all right, well, think about it. The next day, this guy named Jerry Jordan, which is the manager, and Jerry, if you're listening to this, I love you, bro. And he called me and he said, hey, swing by here. I got something for you. I'm like, all right. And if you look at my very first Facebook post ever from 11 years ago, it was 2 of these shirts, 2 hats, and a busted box of Federal Champion ammo because he couldn't sell it. It was busted.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah.
Okay? And I'm like, I remember posting this like, oh, my word. I've made it.
Yep.
I've made it.
Right, yeah.
I've made it. And, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
They have never paid me a dime. I've never taken. Now, he's given me a couple of times a turkey choke or like a gun case or something in a hard time, like when I needed to fly and my case messed up. But they've never paid me a penny. I don't want anything from them, but I want to give them business because they saw something in me,
Somebody
when I first
supported
started.
you when you were nothing.
So that's
and,
why I wear their hat every single video.
That's awesome.
Very,
man.
very awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta love that too, especially when somebody sees like, dude, that's cool, man. You know what? Let me support you. Let's do that. You know.
Yeah, and even now, so now they sell them with 22 Plinkster on the back.
Look at that.
How cool is that?
Yeah, I'm like, gosh, you didn't have to do that. They're like,
Yeah.
we want to support you. So I was like, well, thank you. So and I don't get any royalties off of this because they sell these hats for $4.95. It's not an expensive hat, but it's really comfortable. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, I first met you at Surviving Man.
yes.
Remember
yes.
that? Yeah.
Yeah. So this was last year, right?
Just last year.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, June. I think it was June, right?
Yeah.
And somebody said, like, I'd seen some of your videos, but I'm one of those guys, like, I really don't follow gun channels. I just kind of see them, and I like shooting at things. Like
He likes destroying things.
destroying.
Who doesn't?
I love that.
Yeah. So, and I saw, like, your Bloom video, which I want to talk about, but I was like, who is he? Like, they're like, oh, 22 Plinkster. And I saw you. I was like, oh, I recognize him from the videos that came on my feed, you know? And then we met, and you made those contestants split that card.
Yeah,
How
dude,
was that
that's
experience?
his thing, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, going back to Survivor, man.
Yeah.
I may have been a little too hard on you guys. I had, of course, it's out now. Okay, I haven't had a chance to watch it. I've gotten a couple emails like, here, click here. Like, I'm going to watch it. The first one, splitting the playing card literally at 25 feet with the red dot, not too difficult. Okay, it's like the first trick shot someone should ever do. Okay, I've done it backwards. I've skipped off the water and split playing cards over my shoulder to 100. Like, I've done it every which shape or form. So
Not
I know.
difficult to do.
Well, that stuff is a little bit.
Water.
Yeah, I did it off a swimming pool. Skipped it off a swimming pool and split a playing card. So
Unbelievable.
And so I was thinking to myself, I'm like, anybody can do it. In which I think everyone did it besides one contestant, if I remember correctly.
I believe so. It took some time. Like, some of them were missing.
Yeah,
and stuff.
but that's that's not knowing the platform.
Yeah.
You didn't zero it in because some people pull to the left, some people pull to the right, some people pull down. So I get it. But I tried to get them as close as I could, and everybody did it but one. I think everybody had like 5 or 6 shots to do it, and the reaction that all the contestants like, holy cow, I split a playing card, and I'm thinking to myself, that's awesome. I'm glad you love it, but it's going to get harder, And so, and I like to see their excitement. Then I did the 1 second drill, which I couldn't even do that. I think I did it in my best time was like 1.27, which I had the fastest time of everybody, but there was a couple of them that were like really close, but some of them were like 2.5 seconds. So what a 2 second drill is, you have an 18-inch target to your left, 18-inch target to your right, and then you have a stop plate of 8 inches in the middle. So when the buzzer goes off, you got double tap the left one, double tap the right one, and one shot in the middle. So 5 shots in less than a second on target.
Wow. Yeah.
So I can do it less than a second with my Vakortsons. Much nicer trigger, lighter gun. But, you know, the Tippmann's a nice rifle, you know, nice setup.
What was the distance on that one? I'm sorry to cut you.
Oh, I think it's 20 feet. No, it's 25 feet. 25 feet.
Okay.
So, because it's basically point shooting. That's all it is. You're not aiming. But they have a 5-pound trigger. I'm used to a 2-pound trigger. And the travel on a Vakortson is nothing. The travel on the Tippmann's a little bit more. And so all I could do is like 1.27s and then 2.7, and then we did the poppers. But the one where I'm referring to is the balloon at 300 yards.
Oh,
The last one. And so I get up there and I explain this whole thing. I'm like, and it was like a 14-inch white balloon. We put confetti in it and all this stuff. And I was like, all right, we got a balloon downrange at 300 yards. Now, we're not going to do any like this sissy leaning up against stuff or prone or anything. We're going to shoot it free-handed because you can shoot free-handed and you can shoot any style.
That's right.
And I'm like, at this distance, we're going to be shooting a bullet that's traveling at about 1,060 feet per second. So it is subsonic. So it is going to be dropping probably about 14 to 20 feet because we were shooting like 12-inch barrels, 13-inch barrels. They were SBRs, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're going to have to know your holdover. You're going to have to like play the wind. And the wind was bad that
was
day.
windy, yeah.
The wind was real bad. And I'm thinking to myself, it's 300 yards. These guys should be able to make the shot. Okay, and y'all's
They
defense.
weren't shooters, though. You know, it's so crazy. I thought they were all shooters, but they were not.
No,
Yeah.
they were not shooters. And
Yeah.
also, I forgot of all the pain that you guys have been through before.
through the whole day and everything else.
and like you're shaking because if I do something, if I'm like weed eating or something, if I go to shoot afterwards, I'm like, no, that ain't going to happen. So I didn't really take that to consideration. So I go through the whole spiel, and they're like, well, we want to see you do it first. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, first shot, boom. Second shot, boom. Third shot, pop. Each contestant had 10 rounds to do it.
All right.
Out of like the 14 contestants, only one got it.
Oh, wow.
I was like, yeah, I may have made that one a little bit too hard.
Yeah. That was, it was so windy.
It was. And it wasn't really, it really wasn't the shooter's fault because that, and I thought you could spot the shots because the ground was real dusty, but you couldn't see the shots. And I'm like, I don't know if you're going high, left, right. I'm so sorry. Like,
just don't do what you did.
Yeah, just don't do what you did. Do something different.
Do something different, yeah. So what would you say is the hardest trick shot you've pulled off?
I mean, just that water skipping thing. Like, what's...
All right. You want insider's secret on that?
Yes.
Okay. Go
I'm
ahead.
about to give away
We're not
all
gonna
my...
tell anybody.
Yeah, and it's not like this is recorded. So, and both the people that listen to your podcast won't tell anybody.
Thanks for that.
I'm just joking, man. So, no, so here's a secret with ricochet shots. All right. I've done it off of bulldozer blades, like ricochet, split cards. I've double bounced stuff and off of 2 plates. So here's the thing. This is my magician secret, okay? I'm letting it out of the bag. Anybody can do that shot.
What?
Anybody.
I want to learn it and do it.
Okay, let me teach you how.
Yeah.
So first thing you do, you get your steel plate, okay? Steel plate, angle it any way you want, okay? Which way you think the bullet's going to ricochet. You can do it with any caliber you want. So the first thing you do, you angle it, you back up, 15, 20 feet, whatever you want to do, and then you mark your spot. You put out a spot for your right foot, your left foot. You do not leave that spot, okay? That's very important.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that. Then you see the angle of which you think the bullet's going to go. You get you a cardboard box, you set it up there. You shoot the steel plate, it's going to ricochet into that.
Yeah.
You take your playing card and you put it in the ground and you put it right there at that bullet hole. You remove the cardboard box. So, boom, you shoot it.
Okay, wow. Okay,
So-
that is pretty good.
You know who I learned that from? Bob Munden.
Really?
Okay.
So Bob Munden used to do that on his ricochet shots. And I found some old video of him trying to, like, setting up a shot to do that. And I'm like, yeah, I think I could do this. So all my ricochet shots are the same way. And anybody, now, it's a little bit harder because you have to hit the exact spot. If you're off a quarter of an inch left
That's
or
it,
right,
yeah.
it's not going to do it. But it looks really cool on camera when it works out.
But what about water, though?
Water, did the same thing. So I
Really?
got level with the water, shot the water, had a cardboard box, and where that hole went, I put the playing card in front of the hole, actually split the playing card on the very first shot.
No way, man.
Clint?
That is the honest truth.
Dude,
We're doing
all
it.
right,
We're doing
I
it.
mean, we gotta do it. And you haven't been to the warehouse yet either.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, dude, you gotta come by, man.
have to.
Because I mean, we could have a hell of a good day.
It would be dude. I can already like think about the things we can do.
Oh, yeah.
We got to have you over, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
just say when. I'm
Yeah,
there.
dude. That would be a lot of fun, man. Coming out there and doing that. For those of you that don't know, too, unless you're watching on YouTube, too, you're probably looking like, are you guys in a hotel room?
Well, yes.
yes, we are. We did a little bit of rearranging of the furniture in here, and we are actually at the NRA Annual Meet 2023 here in Indianapolis. And as you guys know, we like to bring our podcasting equipment with us because we did this at SHOT Show also, and we recorded with Brandon Herrera, Stephen Williford, Gun Drummer, a couple of others.
Oh,
too,
yeah,
you
Gun
know.
Drummer's a cool dude.
Oh, love him, man. And we were like, dude, let's just bring it to NRA and let's just see if anybody wants to do it. So we ran into you, of course, and we think Mike, Mr. Guns and Gear, he might be interested in shooting with us also. And all that's, pretty interesting and all that. So in case you guys are watching, like, where the hell are they?
Yeah.
Yep. We're in Indianapolis in a hotel room.
Yeah. But would you say that the ricochet shots are probably some of the hardest?
Easiest.
Easiest.
Yeah, those are the easiest.
Oh my gosh, man, that's just wild to me.
Probably my most difficult shot, and we go back to like before sponsors, before anything. I was just a redneck with a gun on YouTube, which I pretty much am now. Was my cameraman at the time, my very first cameraman. We were talking one day, and he was like, "Do you think you could hit a golf ball in the air if I chip it up in the air with a pitching wedge with a .22 pistol?" Now this is all open sights. This is with a 1964 Colt Woodsman with bulk ammo. And I'm like, yeah, I can do it. Like I had at that time I was shooting so much, and like I was dialing in my skill to the point that I didn't shoot a lot of ammo, but every shot I took was precise. It was not wasting like my dad. It wasn't steel plates, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
No, it was like, all right, I want to shoot that aspirin every single time at 30 feet. Like, that was the discipline I had at that time. And aerial targets, too, throwing golf balls up in the air and shooting them. Actually, I think I hit 64 golf balls in a row one time before I missed. I can't do that now. Because that skill, I haven't practiced it. You lose the time. It wouldn't take me long to get back, but it's a skill. So I was like, yeah, I can do that. So we go out to this abandoned field, and it has a big cliff on the bank. So I could shoot 50 feet up, and I would be completely safe. So I had to find somewhere where it's safe, because a .22 bullet will go 1.5 miles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so we get out there to this field. Well, I thought he was a good golfer. He was a horrible golfer. So one hit of the golf ball would be like 6 feet off the ground on a line drive, and the next one would be like 30-foot floater. So I never knew where the golf ball was going. So I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, oh, I've got to chase it now. Boom. Or I got to go down here. And it probably took me 25 times, and I squared one up. So,
wow. I mean, 25 times is pretty impressive
yeah,
still, though.
So,
I'm just going to say.
And I had, back then, this is early days of YouTube. This is right after I got my Sony Handycam.
Yeah.
I had the Sony Handycam behind me, and I had my Droid out there. So I had 2 shot angles,
Oh,
man.
my goodness. Multiple angles?
Dude, it was YouTube gold.
Right,
yeah, it was like, can't hide money.
So when did you
that's
ditch
incredible.
that 2x4?
Asking the real question.
So I finally bummed a tripod from my dad that he had from the 70s, and it still worked. It was all aluminum, and and I still have it. It's somewhere on the range in the weeds somewhere, but he let me borrow it. And then I guess probably about, I would always buy like very cheap tripods and stuff. And finally, I just bit the bullet when, I guess probably about 9 years ago, I got a Manfrotto.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored.
And you look at all the
I
cameras.
look at all the
No.
Manfrotto. Yeah, I've got that one. I've got that one. And now I think I have like 3 Manfrottos, and because one for my high speed, one for my secondary Canon, and one for my primary Sony. So, but yeah, I'm running 3 cameras, and not counting GoPros and Droid X's.
Dude, I remember when we were using the high-speed cameras because we shot the watermelons.
Yeah.
Dude, and I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
Watching those things blow up and all that stuff, which was really, really cool. And you mentioned you were working multiple jobs when you first started the channel and stuff. And I think you mentioned something to me that was really, really cool. And if you don't want to share, that's fine. We'll cut this part out. But it was like you installed like security systems, right?
So I serviced them.
Yeah. Okay.
So I didn't install. So say for instance, your alarm keeps going off in the middle of the night, and you lived 2 hours away, and that was part of my area. I went there and I troubleshot it, and I fixed it. Whether it be a motion detector, glass spray detector, floor sensor, shock sensor, panic button. Like there's so many things with alarm systems. Okay. And then, or if you lived in had a 1,000,000 square foot warehouse and you had a ground fault, a bare wire touching metal, I would track that wire down, work on PE beams. Somebody took a forklift and ran over the floor contact or whatever, I would fix that kind of stuff, or cameras, DVRs, networking. And so I did that. I also installed alarm systems on the side, okay, for extra money. I dug ginseng. I made custom turkey calls for several years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I made them out of, walnut, mahogany, purple heart, canary wood. I make box calls, sell them for $75 a piece, and I'd have about maybe 40 cents in every call.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, but I would have about 4 or 5 hours in each call of work.
Yeah.
And so, I did that. And, I worked my tail off, man. And now, my 20s and 30s, I literally... People are like, you get the luckiest job. I'm like, you don't understand. I worked 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, I worked 80 hours a week. I'm like, then make YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if this redneck can do it, the uneducated college even though I went to college for 2 years, but I majored in playing basketball. And, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that. It takes some kind of confidence.
Right.
Okay. And you got to find out what you're good at.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. You can't just hop into anything.
Yeah. You can't start an auto body channel and you don't even know how to sand. You've got to.
Well, there's some falsehood to that because I'm on a gun channel. I don't know how to shoot. So
Yeah. Well, yeah. Obviously, saw that. But
it's because the rock in his shoes.
Yeah, the rock in
that's
his
what it was.
shoes.
That's
So and you look. People are going to watch your stuff if it's halfway entertaining. I always tell people, they're like, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel. What should I do? I'm like, well, one, be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Now, you can be you could have like a character, okay? Like FBS Russia did.
Oh, exactly,
Or like, and this is not being negative towards Matt, like Demolition Ranch, because if you know Demo, you know him.
Yeah. We had him on the podcast.
Yeah,
on our
exactly.
show.
Yeah, exactly. His character in real life, he's very shy. He's very humble.
Yeah.
He's
very
calm,
quiet.
He's cool. Yeah, dude. And then you actually then you see him on his channel.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah.
So it's which that works for him. Okay.
Yeah.
But I would always tell people to do, but that's few and far between. Most people get too embarrassed. They can't submit to that character.
Right.
Because if you can't go all in, you start getting embarrassed,
Yeah.
and then it gets awkward on camera. It's just like acting.
Yeah.
If you halfway do it, it's cringy. So I always tell people, I'm like, one, be true to yourself.
Right.
All right. Be true to yourself. Two, find something you love to do. And the honest truth, it's either going to sink or swim.
Yep.
That's it.
Consistency, man.
That's
Yeah,
it.
they got to be consistent.
They
You're
do.
doing it for 2 years.
Yeah. You've got to put in the work. You can't just say the younger generation, in America is the largest silver spoon generation I've ever seen in my life. They're like, well, I want to have 100,000 followers. I want to have 1 million followers. It's to the point where they buy followers just to make them look more important than what they really are, because this I've never got hung up on numbers ever, and I refuse. Honestly, I should be a much bigger channel than what I am, but I don't put out consistent videos. I may skip 2 or 3 weeks, because really, if I'm doing my job with my sponsors and I'm giving my fans, some kind of entertainment every once in a while, I just can't do it all. I don't have a manager. I don't have somebody answering the emails. If you send me a direct message on Instagram or Facebook or on YouTube, I'm the one that answers it. It's not somebody else. A lot of people with channels my size or even your size how many people are in this room helping you?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have that.
We got two behind the cameras.
I am a
over there,
one-man
right?
show. I pay a cameraman to come over 1 day a week to film. That's it.
You edit your own videos?
Yeah, I do everything.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
very commendable. Yeah.
Something else too that I thought was a really cool conversation that we had over lunch when we last hung out was because you mentioned already once too that you've got some ADD and things like that.
Yeah.
And you actually explained to me, and I thought this was super cool that actually kind of helped you with your accuracy and stuff.
Exactly.
Because it gave you the ability to kind of hyper focus in on
Exactly.
stuff, right?
So if you don't know anything about ADD, I was diagnosed with ADD probably about 8 years ago. I was on Adderall for a little while, and I've known it, had it all my life. When I was younger, it was ADHD.
Right.
I was very hyper. I'm 44 years old and I'm still bouncing off the walls right now. But that was in the 80s and 90s, there was no such thing as ADHD. You're a
You're
hyperactive
just a
kid with a
hyperactive
lot
kid.
of energy.
Yeah, so that was the same thing.
Okay.
And then I went to a doctor and they wanted to prescribe me Adderall, and I was like, all right, I'm going to try to do this something else, whatever, and I just left it at that. But
So when I became self-employed, when I left my job after 18 years to do YouTube full time, it was overwhelming. Okay, I've got to answer these. Now I have these sponsors, because within the first month I picked up 3 sponsors.
Yeah.
Okay, now I've got the responsibility of this. I was also doing Henry TV. I had a secondary YouTube channel. I had Plinkster Outdoors, a third channel. I was doing all my taxes, all my bills, all my bookkeeping, editing videos, filming videos. I was a youth leader in my church of like 70 teens. I was about to go crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know I have ADD. Let me see if there's something that can fix it.
Right.
So I went to the doctor, and I didn't know it, but as I was in the waiting room, he had cameras on me, and he looked at the camera footage of me just sitting there. And I came in the room. He's like, just observing you. We set you in there for 20 minutes on purpose. Like, I've been ready to see you. He said, I've been noticing you without you being under stress or anything. You've got severe ADD.
Oh, wow.
Every time a noise make, you would look up from your phone, or like Russell, and I kept seeing you looking up and down your phone. He said, you got severe ADD. I'm like, well, no joke. That's why I'm here. So, and he was like, all right, I'm going to put you on Adderall. Okay. I'm like, I want to try it just to see.
Yeah.
So the beautiful thing about Adderall is it made me focus. I honestly believe if I had that stuff in middle school and high school, I would work for NASA right now. Okay, because honestly, my studies struggled, my homework, my tests, everything. It struggled. I thought I was stupid. I thought I was a stupid human being. I thought I was ignorant. But it wasn't that. It's just I couldn't focus to study. I got on that stuff, and I was on it for like 2 months, and it changed my life. Okay, honestly changed my life. But I started noticing something. I would take it about 6 o'clock in the morning. I noticed something about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, that I turned into a person that I didn't like. So one of the bad things about Adderall is when you come off of that crash, it can actually cause severe depression. So during the day, I was on a high. I was focused. I was getting so much stuff done. I was like, holy cow, I've just got more done in the past 3 hours than I usually get all done all week. But at 5 o'clock, the depression would hit. I would just sit by myself. I wouldn't really want to talk to my girls or anybody else. And I was like, what is freaking wrong with me? So I went to the doctor, and I'm like, hey, the Adderall is working, but is this a side effect? He said, oh, yeah, it can cause severe depression. I'm like, I'm out. Check.
Yeah.
So I've never took it since. I took it for 2 months.
And that's the reason why I decided not to.
Yep.
So it's like I was already kind of like suffering from some things, and I was like, dude, I don't even want to play with it. I'm just going to go with it and just try to figure out things.
Smart man.
And therapy has actually helped more than anything, really trying to collect my thoughts and organize them better, and then also just taking notes. Being able to actually like just go from everything that's happening up here and then put it on paper. Now all of a sudden I'm focusing because I'm writing it, and now I'm actually reading it as I'm writing it. And if I say it out loud, that's another thing that my brain's doing, and it's organizing everything. And that helped a lot.
My cameraman, I've got a really good cameraman, and he keeps me straight.
Yeah. That's my Ryan.
Yeah. So he like when I'm bouncing off the walls, like I'll go in like, hey, you forgot the SD card. So I have to go back in the house and get the SD card. Well, I'm gone for 30 minutes. He comes back in there, and he's like, why are you folding laundry?
Wow.
It's like, crap, I came in here to get the SD card, and I saw this, and I had to pick this up, and I remember to get this out for this guy that's coming over and get this. And he was like, and so he keeps me focused, and he's got ADD too. So it's like a train wreck sometimes at my house. So, but we get a lot of stuff done, and he knows, because man, you filmed enough content at this point. There's some days you just don't want to do it.
Dude, when so at one point we were putting out a video every single day for 7 days, and we did that for 860 days straight. And
that's insane, man.
And oh, sorry, Ryan corrected me. That's again, you said your cameraman. Yeah, that's right. 870 days.
But Ryan is OCD.
Yeah.
Not ADD.
OCD.
It's something.
OCAD.
He's got something out of it. Well, he's so for those of you that don't know, Ryan is more than just a press, pause, play, whatever, stop, record on camera. He's the one that's also saying, hey, dude, have you seen this in recent firearm news or whatever else, or this is what's big in the industry. So we're going to create content all around whatever the current thing is that we've got on cfcontest.com or whatever else it is. There's a whole schedule set for that, right? And Anyway, what I was getting at was that 870 days of continuous uploads of every single day, fully edited, 10 minutes.
Just think if you're uploading those on 3G.
Oh, think about if it was just me, like it is just you, dude. I would have lost. And so you're talking about getting burnt out, man, dude. And we started doing that when COVID hit because we knew that everybody was sitting at home, they had nothing to do, and let's just do it. The first video of ours that broke 1 million views, I think, was actually recorded in my garage.
Yeah,
and it was just like, hey, everybody else is at home. Guess what? I am too. And dude, I think it was one of our most relatable videos, and it was about top 5 home defense guns, and it was perfect. It was a perfect concoction of everything because it was me in my garage. Everybody else is at home. Everybody's at home thinking about, well, man, if somebody broke in because we're desperate times, desperate measures.
We don't have toilet paper.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah. You
That's
know,
serious.
So somebody needs something to wipe their ass with.
Then I shot that whole roll of toilet paper during COVID, and baby, I triggered everybody. Like I went and I told my buddy who owns a grocery store up the road. I'm like, do you have any TP? He was like, yeah, I've got like one thing left. I'm like, I've been to like 6 different stores. He was like, save it for me. He was like, what are you going to do with it, Dave? Because he knows me. And I'm like,
I got to go.
I need to see how many toilet paper rolls a 22 will go through. And he was like, are you really? I said, make sure it's 1 ply, not 2 ply. And he's like, it is 1 ply. It's the chief step. So I did that right in the middle of COVID, and I triggered the whole freaking internet. And it was wonderful because I'm like, listen, it's just got a hole in it. I'm going to still use it. You know, it's not
one hole.
Yeah, you just don't make sure you have an accident. You know?
Yeah, just make sure it's covered. You know,
covered.
Like,
Like a couple layers. You know,
Yeah,
it is
you're
1
right.
ply.
Yeah.
And so, like I like triggering people for stupid things that they get triggered about. Not like I would never be insensitive for somebody.
That wasn't a real issue.
It wasn't.
Nothing.
It was
Paper.
hoarding is all it was.
Yeah.
So,
wasn't
you
a real
know,
issue.
it's I love triggering those people that they get triggered over the Karens of the world, that get triggered over the smallest thing that does not matter. And
Well,
like
it
now if it's
matters
a
to me,
big issue,
okay?
now if
That's
it's
what they
like
say.
an addiction or something, like, of course you stay away from all that stuff because that is serious.
Yeah.
Right.
Toilet paper is not serious.
Or
you know?
my favorite,
What
I like
triggered
to
it?
like what
Like, what was
the toilet paper thing?
Yeah,
because
why
everybody's stuck at
toilet paper?
home.
Yes.
I guess
Everybody's stuck at home pooping a bunch. I guess I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
No,
I don't
know
know.
what I think. I think this herd mentality, like I
That's
think
the big thing.
2
Echo
or
chambers
3
and everything
guys
else.
or gals, whoever, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna grab some toilet paper, and the guy or gal pushing that cart is like, wait, everybody's grabbing toilet paper. Let me grab some too.
Is there something that I don't
and
know?
let's put it on social media. Boom. There it goes.
That's it.
That's what
But I
said.
think a lot of it is because COVID, everything was shut down.
Yeah.
So they couldn't make the TP. And so
People started getting scared.
You know, it's just like, I got a watering hose, you know, everything's good. You know, I got Ballistol and you know, and some poppies. And
He's a squirrel.
Yeah, a squirrel. You know,
squirrel,
I started tanning the squirrel hides.
Yeah.
You know, they're reusable. So
Yes.
I saw that little. There's a video of a guy. It was obviously like some parody. He's doing his thing in the woods, and then he's looking around. He's looking for something, and then a squirrel's going by.
just grab the
He
squirrel.
just grabs it and
Was it
wipes his
Dave?
butt.
No, it wasn't me. I've done it with the possum, but never squirrel.
That sounds like an angry wife, man.
Squirrel is softer.
All right, so all right. I got to ask you guys a personal question.
Okay.
It's not too personal.
We're here for it.
All right. On a scale 1 to 10, how scared are you of snakes?
Oh, I'm actually not scared of snakes.
I'm
Ryan, on the
terrified.
other hand,
I don't want to talk about it.
Because this conversation usually triggers people.
dude, there's a woman at our work, and her name's Jennifer. She's awesome, and she
got
is
'em.
a keeper of snakes.
Really?
When I say
Yeah.
this, dozens, bro. Dozens. And she's actually got 2, or she's got a tarantula in her office at work.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, I caught that little guy
Yeah.
the other day. I love
What is it,
snakes.
a garden?
No, it's a rough green snake.
Yeah.
So all right, a little bit about myself.
So I take it you're not afraid of snakes.
I'm not afraid of anything but heights.
All right.
I'm not afraid of anything but heights.
Wow.
You get me on a 20-foot extension ladder, I will scream like any loudest Karen you've ever
But
heard.
you're tall yourself, man.
Exactly. You think I would get used to it, but I'm not.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'6", 225.
So
Wow.
which also brings me to another question. Is it just if you hang out with Hickok 45, the tallness rubs off on you? Like, I mean,
Well, it's funny. Like, you guys know Zeke? So he used to be at
Which one's Zeke?
SDI. Now he's at MGS.
Okay.
He used to have the podcast Talking Lead.
I know
So-
Talking Lead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was when Zeke was on it. So me, Zeke, Greg, and John are really good friends.
Yeah.
When we go out, everybody say, "Oh, here's the basketball team. The basketball team showed up." I'm like, "Yeah, I never heard that one before with us, But I am the shortest at 6'6".
Oh wow.
How tall is Adam? Adam from Canic?
I believe he's 6'8".
6'8",
Yeah.
6'9", something like
What
that.
about
Actually,
Hickok?
So I'm 6'6". Zeke is 6'7". Hickok's 6'8". John's 6'10".
I saw Hickok here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's probably at Silencer Central.
I wish he was here with us now.
Yeah.
So,
That would have been good.
dude,
you wouldn't go to bed. He would talk. You think I talk a bunch? He'll start quoting poetry and everything else, because he was an English teacher and literature teacher for 20 years.
I did not know that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did not know that either.
Yeah. Oh, for years, up until I think he retired about. I think we had his retirement party about 8 years ago.
Really?
But yeah, for like first 6-7 years at Hickok 45, he was still teaching. He was still teaching. English literature
man.
teacher. He
Yeah.
could, Shakespeare, anything, he can just quote it.
That's
Wow.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
He's very, very intelligent man.
Yeah, he
I would
seems
never
like
tell
it.
that to him face or anything like that. But
Gotta keep him humble.
But
you know?
he's a very intelligent man. So I wished he would. Like, honestly, people don't know this, but honestly, I've known Hickok since I was 17, and I'm 44 now, so way before YouTube. The reason why he can shoot the way he can shoot is because I gave him lessons as a teenager in my early 20s. That's why he can shoot the way he didn't learn this stuff on his own. So before 22 Plinkster, I taught him personally how to shoot. And so he started winning some matches, and he created this YouTube channel that people watch. So I'm not saying I'm taking all the credit for it, but I will take 99%.
So when I started watching him when I was just a kid, and he was like, "Let's see if I can hit that gong out there."
Oh, Mr.
I know,
Gong.
Gong.
Mr. Gong. Yeah, sure did. Yeah.
He just laughs.
It's so good, man. Like he was everybody's grandpa.
It's
You know
grandpa.
what I mean?
It's
He was
grandpa.
everybody's grandpa.
It's grandpa. So
Yeah.
no, I think the first time I ever shot with Greg, I was probably 17 or 18. But honestly, I didn't shoot pistols until I was 21.
Really?
I shot a few. Dad, like I said, we didn't waste ammo.
Right.
Okay. Dad would let me shoot the 22 high standard every once in a while, maybe 10 rounds a year.
Yeah.
How does he feel now that you spend like 2,500 rounds?
Oh,
a
he
week?
comes and mooches ammo off of me all the time. He was like, "Oh, give me a case of that." I'm like, "Dad, you can't shoot in your subdivision. The only place left you have to shoot is my house." "Well, yeah, but I like having it." I'm
You
like,
don't like to waste it
for
then.
what? I'm like,
Just in case.
You shoot at my house twice a year. That's the only time you pull the trigger. So you're not going to give your dad, the man who taught you how to shoot, any ammo? I'm like, "All right, Dad, I love you. Here's some ammo."
So next time give him blanks.
Yeah.
I can't hit shit with this ammo. Oh man,
That's a really good idea.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, I'll let you steal that. You know?
So I'll give him like CCI birdshot.
yeah, there you go.
And I'm like, "Yeah, hit that apple out there at 30 feet, Dad. Good luck with that." So,
That's awesome, man. Going back to what you were talking about whenever you're doing your security system stuff.
Yeah.
You told me at once that you actually did something for Johnny Cash.
oh yeah, it's Johnny Cash's personal alarm technician for about 4 years.
That is so cool. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So like I live near Nashville, and our office was located in Nashville. I knew Johnny Cash very well. Been to Alan Jackson's house a couple of times. Lori
gone
Morgan,
country.
Lori Morgan, Sammy Kershaw, knew them very well. Don Williams? Me and Don were close. Like Don only lived like 15 miles, from me, and he would make up like work orders. Like, "Hey, I think I got a low battery. All right, I'll come shoot you a game of pool when I get off of work." So we go shoot game of pool and stuff. Good Mel Tillis. I could Reba McEntire. Like
Yeah.
I could just go on and on. I know them all. John Rich, Big and Rich.
Yeah, oh,
John
yeah,
Rich.
right.
So John used to date my sister in high school. So he's from the small little town.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like my daughter is dating Don Williams's grandson. So it's a very small
Wow.
So my next door neighbor that lives on the road with me is Jonathan Singleton, which is Luke Combs' producer and songwriter. He's written almost every song for, and also wrote that song, "Leaving the Lights On." "Every Light in the House is On," or something
Yeah.
like. He wrote that song years ago, but he's written pretty much every song for like Luke Combs, but they're just normal people,
Right.
Yeah.
For the most part, most of the country music and Titans too. A lot of the Tennessee Titans. I know a lot of them. I've done a lot of charity stuff with them, shoots and stuff like that. I'm actually taking Delaney Walker on a hunt, which is a former Pro Bowler. He hadn't played in 2 or 3 years Titans, but he's a Pro Bowler. I'm fixing to take him on his first hunt this summer. That's in Texas. That ought to be fun. So, but yeah, like what's that one guy's name? He used to be the tight end for the Titans.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. But he was a really nice guy. His name will come to me here in a minute. But I was doing this charity shoot with the Titans.
Yeah.
And this is about like 5 years ago. Supernaw. Doug Supernaw was his dad, which country music singer. His name was Philip Supernaw.
Yeah.
And so we're doing this charity shoot. I'm with like Ben Jones, their center and their punter and stuff. And actually, believe it or not, our group, we won first place. I don't know how that happened. But so like right before I started, this guy, this big old freaking 6'7", 240-pound chiseled tight end comes up to me. He's like, "Hey." I'm like, "Hey." And he was like, "I heard you know how to call up a turkey." I'm like, "Yeah, I do." He's like, "I have been trying for 2 years to kill a turkey." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And I was like, "Maybe you'll get one." He's like, "I want you to take me." And I'm like, "I don't have time." And I was like, literally, I got home last night. I found out at 11 o'clock. I flew in last night. I found out at 11 o'clock that I'm supposed to shoot this charity event today. And I leave out in two days now to go out of town again. And he was like, "I'll pay you." I'm like, "No, it's not about the money. Plus, you can't pay me. I don't have my guiding license in Tennessee, so that's illegal." And he was like, "Come on, man, take me turkey hunting." He said, "I've been for like 36 days straight. 36 days straight. Hadn't even heard a gobble." And I was like, all right, let me see. So I made a few phone calls. Well, I was like, let me make a few phone calls and I'll let you know. So I get halfway through the match. He comes up to me, "Hey, did you make those phone calls?" And I'm like, "No, not yet,
Persistent.
man." Yeah, very, very persistent. I was like, "No, I haven't made them yet." He was like, "All right, let me know. I need to make plans too." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't think nothing about it. Well, after I get done, they're awarding us first place and all this stuff. He's like, "Did you make those phone calls?" And I'm like, "Dude, I've been shooting, I've been doing like skeet shooting, and it's sporting clays." And I was like, I say, "Here's my number. Call me tonight." I'm like, "Let's see if I can get it worked out." I'm on the way home. I haven't been gone 15 minutes. He calls me. Hey, did you get it? Did you get it? Like, did you get prepared? I was like, "All right, I'll call right now." So I hung on. I was like, "All right, we're good. We can go in the morning." I said, "We can hunt about 10, 11 o'clock. He said, I said, "All right, be at my house at 5:30. Okay? I gave him my address. He's like, "All right, I'll be there at 5:30. At 4:30,
Oh my God.
my Rottweiler starts going crazy.
That man is determined. I like that man.
Yeah,
right.
And
He
I look,
wanted it. Yeah.
and I look, and he's just standing out in my driveway with his truck running. I'm like, "Oh, goodness, I'm not even awake. I don't have my stuff ready." So I go out there. I may be in my drawers at this point. I don't even know. I was like, "Hey, you're a little early, aren't you?" He was like, "Yeah, I just didn't know if I could find your place or not." And I'm like, "All right." I said, "Let me get." This is the craziest turkey story, by the way. And he's like,
I love it.
and I was like, let me get my camo, my gun, stuff like that. We'll be good to go. So I go in there and like I really get to meet him and stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, I've put in 36 days straight here, like morning, afternoon, dark.
Yeah.
Hadn't even heard my first turkey gobble." He said last year was the same thing. He's hunting public land. Okay, it's hard hunting. And I was like, "All right, I can't promise you anything, but there are at least birds where we're going, And so I take him to my honey hole. I'm talking, I've killed over 50 longbeards off of this 78-acre farm in a period of like 15 years. I'm like, surely this guy can kill one.
Yeah.
So we get there, we get in the blind, and we're way early. We're way early. Sun starts coming up, and if you know anything about turkey hunting, when the sun comes up, birds start gobbling. Didn't hear a single bird on the property. Nowhere on any of the other properties that I can hunt. I can hunt this 100 acres over here, this 40 acres over here. Like, there are no birds gobbling. I'm like, well, we're going to sit here about an hour. Maybe they just got lockjaw this morning. No birds. Didn't see a bird. I'm like, well, I said, let's go somewhere else. I've got another farm just about a mile down the road. And I said, let's go down there and see if there's birds out in the cornfield because I cut the corn. We go down there, and sure enough, there was a bird strutting by himself. And I park, and I'm looking binoculars, and I'm like, "It's a good bird." He's about 200 yards. He said, "Well, let's just pull in here and run up here." I'm like, "That's not how this works. You pull in, you stop, he's gone."
Yeah, they're smart.
Yeah, and I like,
they're smart.
We've got to get in within 40 yards here. Okay, we're shooting shotguns. And he's like, "What do we do?" I was like, "Well, we have to go all the way on the back. We got to drive 2 miles on the back side of the property, walk a mile up, and get behind this bird." He's like, I'm Tennessee Titan, I'm in shape, which he didn't say it like that, but I'm like, I don't have to worry about this dude keeping up with me. So we park the truck and we just hightail it. And we're going hills, creeks, everything. And so we get in this little bitty patch of woods. It's probably a half acre. And we don't see the bird, but the bird's probably about 150, 200 yards. That's where we left him like 35 minutes ago. So we're sitting there, and I'm like, are you ready? I'm going to start calling. Are you ready? And he is like shaking like crazy. He's like, yes.
This is
I'm
it,
like,
finally.
all right. So I'm he like gobbling. I'm like, he's like, he starts hyperventilating.
Oh no.
And I'm like, all right, dude, listen, you're going to have to get it together right now. Okay. Like you could break me with one hand, but you're going to have to get it. He's like, that's the first gobbler I've ever heard gobble. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. You want to hear it again? And like gobble again. So I was like, he's like, all right, keep calling. I want to hear him. I'm like, no, you don't keep calling. He's going to lock up. I said, let's just shut up and see if he comes. So we're peeking through the trees in the field, and here he comes. He's coming all the way across the field. He comes over the hill, and he's strutting. You see the tail feathers coming. Yeah. Morning light's hitting him, and it is just like
it's
National
glorious,
Geographic stuff, you know. And he's coming across there, and he's about 80 yards. Then he's about 70 yards, and I'm like, he's taking his like time. And this guy literally, I feel his leg against mine just shaking.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like. And I look at him, I was like, you're going to have to breathe. You're going to pass out on me. And I'm like, I can't drag your big butt out of these woods, you know. And he was like, all right. I said, breathe, deep breaths. In your mouth, out your nose. So he's doing all this, all right, and the bird's out there at about 65 yards. He's not coming any closer.
Oh, no.
He's out there. He's locked up. He is strutting. He is gobbling. Easterns, which are the birds I hunt in Tennessee, they're notorious for locking up. And I said, dude, you're going to have to shoot him. And I was like, have you patterned that shotgun in? At 65 yards, he's like, I'm good to about 35 or 40. I'm like, I slid my shotgun over. I'm like, you're good at 75 with mine. I said, put that red dot right on his face.
Yeah.
So he's getting, and I'm showing him how to work it. About this time, I hear, meep, 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 meep. Here comes a hen across the field. He sees the hen. He goes back over the hill.
Oh, shit.
And I'm just like, he's like, man, that was so close. I'm like, we're going to kill that bird. I'm like, I promise you, we're going to kill that bird. He said, how are we going to kill it? The hen just took it away. I'm like, as soon as he clears that hill, we're going to stand up and we are going to sprint towards that hill. Then we're going to get low, like duck crawl. And as soon as you're duck crawling and you see the tip of that tail fan, you stand up. By the time you stand up, I'm going to go, meep, meep. He's going to look up. You're going to shoot him right in the face at 30 yards. He says, heck yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, dude.
So,
I'm getting I'm over here getting excited about it. Yeah.
So we get, and as soon as it cleared the field, and I was like, let's go. So we started like walking really quick, and he is about to freaking pass out on me.
Oh my God.
And I had to stop him, and I'm like putting my hand on his back, and he's like he's hyperventilating. Like this is so exciting for him. And it's exciting for me too, but I've experienced it multiple times. Yeah. And I'm like, you're going to have to calm down. You're going to have to calm down. And he's like, okay, good. I said, all right, from here on out, we're going to kind of like duck walk, okay? Yeah. And I said, as soon as I see that tail fan, you get beside me. I'm going to make sure you see the tip of that tail fan because their head usually sits about 6-8 inches below the tail fan, so he can't see us. I said, as soon as you see that tail fan, let me know. And so we're duck walking. He said, okay, I see him. He's like seeing the tip of the tail fan strutting. I'm like, all right, on the count of 3, we're going to stand up. You're going to take the gun off of safety. You put that red dot right on his face, and you pull the trigger. And he's like, gotcha. And so I'm like, breathe, because he's getting really nervous because it's go time now. It's like, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play kind of stuff. And so he gets in there, and he raises up, and I raise up with him, and I went, meep, meep. And sure enough, Turkey stuck his head up. We're getting exposed to holding. Boom! Turkey, a couple feathers fly off. He flies. Boom! He takes off.
Oh, God.
And he flies across the road onto another property.
Oh, no.
And he literally breaks down. He says, I can't repeat what he says, okay? But he is literally heartbroken. He is like, it's like the Super Bowl trophy was right there, and he leaned out, and it was like 6 inches short. That's how he felt. It meant that much to him. And I'm like, listen, we've still got a couple of hours. I'm like, let's go get a bite to eat. Let's come back. Let's try to get a bird that's hot. We'll get it. So, all right. So we go down to the local Hardee's, which is about 10 minutes down the road. Hashtag not sponsored.
And so, he's just broken up.
So, he's tore. Yeah. He's like, man, what did I do? I was like, well, I tell you what you did. You jerked the trigger. I was like, it's very easy when you're shooting a 3.5-inch shotgun, the recoil, you're closing your eyes
Yeah.
because he wasn't an experienced shooter. It's very common, okay? It's even common for experienced shooters to do it. And he was like, okay. He's like, man, I'm sorry. Thank you for doing this. I'm like, hey, we're going to try to get you one. We're going to try to get you one. And he was like, all right. So I get through eating my chicken sandwich, a little chicken biscuit. He ate like 17 of them, I think. And so we get back in my truck. And I was like, you know what? Let's go up to the cornfield where we first saw it. Maybe he's back. Okay. And so we drive on the road. Look, of course, there's no turkeys in it.
Yeah.
Okay. This has been probably about 45 minutes. So we turned around this driveway, like right past the cornfield, and we were going to go back to the farm where we hunted that morning. When we turned around, we noticed that there was a dog on the side of the road barking, like a black lab, like up in the tree. I was like, what's that dog? So we pulled close and was like, look up in the tree. And it's his blooming turkey he shot at.
No.
He injured it. And it's right beside the road. Right beside the road.
Turkey's hit. I
Yeah,
know
the
you said
turkey's
feathers,
hit.
but-
He's hitting the body. So it got probably a little pellet in his lung or liver. So he's hurt. He's up there on the limb. And I'm looking, and I was like, found your turkey. And he was like, get out and shoot. I was like, dude, you can't shoot it from the road.
You can't
like,
do that.
you can't. That's illegal.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, that's a really good question.
Go into the field and shoot from the field.
Yeah, so you can't shoot over the road. You can't shoot from the road. You can't shoot on the other side of the road because that's private property. And so we go back and forth in the truck, and that dog just underneath, like barking at the tree. We go back and forth 6 or 7 times. I'm trying to get a plan. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to happen. And so about the 6th time we pass this truck, and this truck's like looking at us. Like, cause like we're driving slow and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Well, now you're looking. Now you're looking
So
sus.
he pulls into this driveway, and I'm like, dude, that's the landowner that owns this across the street.
Oh, perfect. Let's just ask for permission.
Yeah, that sounds simple, right?
Right.
So I go over to him, and I get out of the truck, and I'm in camo, and the guy jumps out of his truck, slams his door. He was like, yeah, what do you need? I'm like, hey, I told him, I said, I'm so-and-so. I have permission to hunt over here, and I named the farmer's name. And he was like, oh, okay. He said, I didn't know if you were running up on me or what. I was like, listen. I said, do you have a black lab? He said, yeah. I said, well, here's the thing. We shot a bird over there, and he flew over across the road, and he's in your tree up here. And I was like, the bird is hurt. I said, is there any way, do we have permission to be on your place to walk over there and shoot that bird? He said, absolutely. I want to see this.
Perfect. You couldn't ask for a better guy then.
So we walk over there, and sure enough, he pulls up and gets about 30 yards from the tree and boom, shoots it out. And it sounded like a watermelon hitting the ground because a 20-pound bird,
Yeah,
25-pound
right.
bird. And dude, he was happier than, he honestly started crying.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, he
After
was
everything
like-
you explained, that makes sense.
And that was like the longest turkey story ever. I understand that. And for the ones of you still listening, thank you. Thank you so much. But I'm really passionate about guns and hunting. I love doing it.
That was a great story, man.
And so he gets it, and let me see if I can find. Just look how happy this dude looks.
Oh, I want to see it.
Yeah, if you got the
I wanna
picture.
see
that'd
it.
be
Let me
great.
see it.
So while you're looking for that, because my next question for you was going to be, what's your most exciting hunt? And was that it?
That wasn't even
That was
his.
probably one of
Yeah.
my most rewarding hunts.
Sure, I get
because
that.
it's
I
a
get
lot
that.
of pressure on me.
And this guy, I mean, he obviously, knew of your reputation hunting and everything, and he was so
yeah,
persistent.
when a guy walks up to you and says, "Hey, I heard you know how to shoot. I mean, call up turkeys and shoot them in the face." Like, you want to be the guy to help this guy
to
out,
make that happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So let me see if I know I've got these pictures somewhere on my phone. And that's the bad thing about doing social media for a living.
got
You have
so many
30,192 million pictures on your phone.
Right.
So, man, there's a lot of turkeys on my phone.
When was this?
Good grief.
When was this, Dave?
Oh, this was the year before COVID, 2019.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah, that was the last time we were in NRA.
So,
Indianapolis, oddly enough. Or not the last time, but the last time in NRA was at Indianapolis.
So I've got these pictures, but and we started following each other on social media, and every once in a while he'll comment on something like that, and it's just it's just rewarding that I had all this pressure of putting this guy that I watched every Sunday play football, and he was a great player, and to put him on his first turkey. But if he would have came to me, he's like, "Hey, I've never turkey hunted before. Can we go kill a turkey?" I would have rolled him off.
Gotcha.
I'm like. Then when he told me, like, I've put in 36 days straight
Yeah.
and
No,
30
this guy
days
was
last year straight, I'm
determined.
like, all right, like, I can't let you do it anymore. So I'm going to go help you. All right.
You guys do it again or no?
No, we didn't do it. You know, we've kind of kept in touch a little bit, not much. All right. Oh, here it is. I found it. So, yeah, look at that bird, man. How happy that guy is.
Oh, yeah, do that. Yeah, he
And
is
so
smiling.
I knew I was in trouble when he stepped out with Sitka
That's
gear
funny.
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
When he stepped out sitting down, like, all I'm wearing is like mossy oak. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, this dude's got more money in camo than I've got in like all my set, my shotgun, my chokes, everything.
Yeah, man, that's a
looks
gorgeous
happy.
bird too. Is that all right if we get this picture though, so we can
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
on
we can post
screen.
up so our viewers can see
So
exactly what it is.
that was one of the hardest turkey hunts that like just look at that face when he's like,
Oh, dude, every picture you have of him, he is just smiling. Dude, he is so happy. Yeah.
Was that his shotgun? The second one?
It
or-
was his shotgun.
Oh, so he
used
did
his
get
shotgun.
so he
Yeah.
got
Yes.
the kill
Yes.
with his shotgun.
Yes.
That's cool.
He
That's
he
cool.
did.
Good-
And
good question. Yeah.
Last week, you know, I was in Texas, and I had the opportunity to take Andy Wickstrom, which is the president of Henry.
Oh, that's cool. So he shot with Henry.
Yes, shot it with a Henry single shot 12 gauge, and so here's the funny thing about this whole thing. Andy's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's big. He's 6'7", big guy. I would not want to arm wrestle him. So I've been talking to him about turkey hunting. He's like, I don't care nothing about shooting a big old bird with a shotgun. You know, I want to go kill hogs in Texas and like big stuff. And I'm like, have you ever been turkey hunting? No. Well, dude, you don't. It's a poor man's elk hunt. That's like you don't know what you're experiencing. Like he was like, well, I really don't want to do it. And so we get to Texas last week, and he still really didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, so we went that morning, heard some birds gobble, couldn't get on any birds. The second morning, I'm like, I've got a different plan. We're going to set up here, and we're going to try. And he was like, okay. And so he's still, yeah, whatever, you know. So we're sitting there in this little bitty mesquite patch with cactus all around us. We can't see behind us at all. The mesquite behind us is so thick. In front of us, we have this sand road with the decoys set out, and the birds are gobbling about 500 yards to our right on the roost.
All right.
So I called to him a few times on the roost. They answered back. I'm like, I'm going to shut up. He's like, why don't you keep calling? I'm like, you call too much, you're going to scare them off. So I waited about 10 minutes after they hit the ground. Still can't see them. And then I called, nothing. I used a different call, nothing. And I waited about 3 minutes, and I went to my mouth call. I didn't get 3 notes out. They're about 200 yards behind us. I'm like, yeah, I got their attention. So I'm like, he can only shoot this way and this way. He can't shoot or see out to the right. So I called back a few more times. They didn't answer. I'm like, all right, they've either got hints or they're coming. Get ready. So he kind of gets the shotgun up, and I noticed the front end of the shotgun doing this number right here.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I got him.
Yeah, he's excited now.
Yeah, I got him.
Yeah, you see when you start to see that quiver a little bit, you're like,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
I said, I got him.
Those who are listening, I don't know if that we're talking about shaking.
Yeah. For the ones listening, like the barrel is going like 8,000 RPMs
Back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth. And so I'm sitting there and haven't heard anything for 5 minutes. I'm like, they've got to be getting close, or they're getting farther away.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden I heard, and I'm like, I look like with my eyes in the mesquite, 10 feet away from me.
No way.
10, like from here, 10 feet. Like I can't explain it in like a podcast.
Yeah, well, from here to about that wall.
Yeah, that wall.
That wall over there that you can't see on camera.
I see a red head going through the mesquite limbs.
No way.
And I'm like, get your gun up slowly. What'd you say?
Oh,
God.
Get your gun up slowly. Okay. I'm like, he's 10 feet behind us. No way. Yes, get your gun up slowly. So we're sitting there, and he's trying to get the gun up, and his legs are shaking uncontrollably, and he's trying to lift the gun up. You know, he's 6'7", 300 pounds, and it was like this single shot Henry weighed 600 pounds, and he couldn't get it up. So I'm just like, oh boy, like, here we go. And so he's sitting there, and I'm trying to see, well, I lost the bird, and I don't see him behind me. I'm like, he's got it. It's like, he can pop out any minute in front of us. And then I'm look, and then all of a sudden, there he is. He's at 13 steps.
Oh, shit.
13 steps. I'm like, shoot him. He's like, where's he at? I don't see him. He's like, look down your barrel. And he's like, oh, boom, shoots him, turkey flopping. And he's like, oh, I got it. And I was like, heck yeah. Like, we're doing like bro hugs and all this stuff. And he was like, dude, that was freaking amazing. I'm like, yeah, turkey hunting's no fun, is it? You know, and he's like, let's go kill another one. I'm like, no, we can't kill another one. I'm like, we're good with one. He's like, dude, that was the most exciting hunt I've ever been on my life. I'm like, see? Dang. Don't knock it until you try.
I've never done it before. Now I want to do it.
Dude, shooting birds in the face is my thing. I love doing it.
Dude, put that on a T-shirt.
Dude,
shooting birds in the face.
And so we took it back. I filleted out the breast, and I gave it to the people there at camp. And he's like, I'm going to make you the best turkey you've ever had. Because usually, I'm going to be honest with you, okay, guys? If you know what I'm talking about, if you're ever a turkey hunter, wild turkey, it can be really, really bad, or it can be really, really good. It depends how you fix it. I've never had turkey like this before. And so he took it and I filleted it off the bone, just the breast. I don't eat the legs. So if I was at home, I would kept the legs because I have a pressure cooker. Yeah. Because I think like turkey legs have like 36 bones in them. They're not tendons. They're just so bony, little bones you got to pull out. And unless you pressure cook them out, you know, it's just
not working.
gristle and it's just no meat on it. Yeah. But if you can get that off, you can make a really good turkey salad sandwich. But anyways, so I filleted it off, and so the owner of the camp that owns 340,000 acres, and one of the most humble, nice guys you ever meet in your life, he fillets little bitty strips. They're probably about probably 3/8 inch thick. Then he's out there and he's just waylaying it with like a meat cleaver and get it tenderized. And he took it to the nice Rosa, the Hispanic cook. Couldn't speak a lick of English, but I can pick up a little bit on Spanish here and there. And she floured it and like soaked it, and she put some chupacabra sauce, like not sauce, but like seasoning in it. Then she made this brown gravy on top of it. Oh, man, I almost went home and smacked my mama. It was that good. It was that good. I was like, you sure this is the turkey he just killed a couple hours ago? He goes, yeah, it's a turkey. I was like, all right, I got to know how to season this, because this was the best way I've ever had wild turkey.
Oh man, that sounds delicious.
Now
I'm hungry. What you doing for dinner, man?
I'm going out to eat with Henry, actually.
Oh well, how about that? Yeah.
He owes me for a guided hunt.
Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, no, big fan of those guys. They just released their 2 revolvers too.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got their brass side gates too and everything too, which are just super cool, man.
So I will have one. I should have a video out on one probably in about 2 weeks.
Which caliber did you get?
I get the 38, 357.
See, I've got a 30-30. That's one I'm like, all right.
So you know I own 217 Henrys, right?
Yes, I do. I've seen your gun room.
Okay.
And man, it is impressive. Oh my god.
So
it's time for you to see ours.
Oh, y'all's gun room is way bigger than ours.
So you said 230 something. Yeah. I think we have 260 in ours.
Something like that.
Just not to compare. Anything,
just in the video room.
Yeah, but also the company owns those. I don't own those.
Yeah. It kind of has its perks when you're the host of Henry TV and you're like, hey, you need one of each gun because we may need a video on this, may need a video on that. So I'm like, all right, that works out.
Yeah. Shout out to Kevin.
Yeah.
You were also on that Impossible Shot.
No, I wasn't. I wanted to be.
Oh, wow.
What was that thing that I saw? But no, I did see you.
I was. You know what? You are right. I was on Impossible Shots.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Twice. I really wanted to give Kai a shit.
Twice.
You're on twice. Twice.
I was
vindicated over here.
We were talking about Top Shot, and I was thinking about Top Shot. No, I wasn't on Top Shot, and he was like, "Yeah, I thought I saw you on." I was on there twice.
Yeah.
So, the first time I was actually still employed with my security company, and dude, I was so nervous. Oh my word! When I went on that TV show, it's the first time I've ever been under big cameras like TV. Yeah. Since then, I've done stuff: Science Channel, History Channel, Discovery Channel, Outdoor Channel. I've been on a lot of the big networks, and so they were like, "So we want you to do things that are hard, but something that you can do,
something attainable."
Yeah. So, and I'm like, we don't want you out here for like. Because they've had contestants on that show like 6 hours never pull a shot off.
Oh damn!
Like we don't want that. I'm like, all
right.
Wait.
They don't want the impossible shot?
Well, exactly. They want.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
They want the probable shot. So I was like, all right, this is what I can do. I can split a playing card. All right, normal. My Colt Woodsman. Split it with the pistol upside down. It's pretty easy. I can get that in a couple of shots. Split it backwards with a mirror. Pretty easy. And the last one, I had like a Lazy Susan that I taped a card and I spun it so the card's going like this 900 miles an hour. And I'd have to time it just right where the edge come on. Because if you hit it here, it's not going to split it. You have to hit it
as
exactly
it's
as it's
I
spinning.
saw that.
Dude.
So I was like, They were like, all right, we can do that. And this is why I don't like TV. I despise TV. Okay?
They edit it or whatever. No.
It took me 20 shots to do all 4 of those shots.
Yep.
So the hardest shot, it actually took me 2 times.
Yeah,
Okay.
wow.
What was giving me hard was the mirror shot because the card was behind like green grass. I couldn't see the card.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't see it actually in the video. They actually had to take a black drop cloth and set it out in the field 50 yards.
Oh, so that way you actually
where
had
I
a
could have
background.
some kind of background because it blended in. I'm like, I can't see it after like the 10th shot. So I did all that. It took me less than 20 shots to do all 4 shots. I was there for 4 hours interviewing. They'd ask the same question. Oh, that was a great take. Let's do it again. I'm like, if it's so good, why do I have to keep
Do it
doing
again.
it?
Yeah.
So I was there for 4 hours, and I was just like, but at that point, they did an interview after the shots, and I'm like, all the stress is off of me
Yeah.
because, this is when I just first signed with Federal. Like, I wanted to make my sponsors happy and stuff like this. And so, I was on that, and then they did, like 2 years ago, they did a life of a day of a YouTuber. So
funny,
then they
yeah.
came to my house and just filmed me. I'm like,
Just making your coffee and doing all
I
that
say,
stuff, yeah.
you're going to have to come up with something because honestly, 90% of my day is this right here, checking messages
right.
and answering emails. I'm like, and phone calls. I'm like, that's not very. So, I did a trick shot for them. And then we mocked up a gun review. Had my cameraman there with the camera and stuff like that. But it was fun. And so what really got me about that episode, the second episode, is I'm kind of lighthearted. I like have fun. Life's too short. I am done with the interviews finally. So did all the shots. They've been there all day. So they asked me 100 questions in my gun room. I'm answering it, and finally he was like, "All right, we got everything we have." I'm like, "Man, that was a good job, good interview." I'm like, "Good." And I looked right into the camera. I'm like, "I'm 22 Plinkster, and I'm more than just eye candy." They're just messing around. So guess what? They lead with that when it comes on TV.
I love it.
Perfect.
So I was like,
Whoever
and
made
I was
that
like,
decision.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness!
Yeah.
I'm like, I would have never
love
said
it.
that. Like it's a joke, but I was just
Right.
like, finally, it's done. And I'm like, I was so embarrassed. I'm like, I can't believe they left that in. And like, so, but it is what it is. It made them a show.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
awesome.
I think we're actually starting to hit our time limit here. But there's one thing I kind of want to end with though is if it's cool with you, I would love for our viewers and listeners to actually drop some comments down below, like a good Ask Me Anything.
Yeah.
And then eventually I do plan, we're going to get you out to the warehouse.
Okay.
100%.
And we're going to do a part 2 of like an Ask 22 Plinkster Anything.
Okay.
So with that, my Ask Anything is favorite pistol, favorite rifle in your collection. If you can only choose one rifle, one pistol, what's it going to be? I know.
My Colt Woodsman started it for me.
Your Colt Woodsman.
Yep. And now I own like 24 of them.
Right.
So it would have to be that one. Favorite rifle, my grandma's rifle.
What's that?
Browning BA.
Yeah.
19
Oh, that's
made
right.
1957
Squirrel.
Belgian made Browning.
Yeah.
So that would be now guns that don't have sentimental value to me.
Yeah.
Goes, all right, we can talk about those.
I understand that.
Rifle. Dang.
It's hard to put them right
Like
on the spot.
honestly,
Yeah.
it would probably it'd be one of my Vakortsons or
Yeah,
it would be my Voodoo.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I shot your voodoo.
Yeah.
I think Ryan, didn't we do that?
I think so.
Yeah, man.
So it'd have to be my Voodoo. Now I've got it tuned.
Yeah. Oh, snap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so the pistol, honestly, it would have to be a Vakortson Scorpion X.
Yeah.
That because I'm fixing. So you know about the whole Garand Thumb calling the guy out.
Oh,
700 yards?
it's 22 man.
All right, 20
Absolutely,
all right.
we know about
Do
that.
you know how many hundreds of messages I got? I can't wait to see you step off the plane.
Dude, we did this on a video. I said we did a video where I actually featured the Henry American Beauty.
Yep.
And I said, how effective is 20 or what's the distance or something? What is the effective range of 22, right? And I said it, and I was like, it would be pretty good to have on the channel, and feature about that is a 22 Plinkster.
Yeah.
So ironically enough, here
Yeah.
you are, and that video just dropped this past week.
Yeah.
So it's still fresh.
Dude, hundreds and hundreds of DMs saying, dude, can't wait to see you get off the plane. I can't wait to see you hit the soda can. And I never answered them back. Even though I was talking to Garand Thumb, and we were talking back and forth.
Yeah.
He was like, dude, I got to get you out to the range.
Yes.
We got to do the
You
shot.
gotta do it, man.
And it wasn't me that stepped off the plane. And people were like, we thought it was 22 Plinkster. And
no.
it's really some 22 guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, there's no way. There's no way he's pulling this shot off.
Yeah.
Like, because now, can he pull the shot off? Yes, if he has unlimited ammo, if he has spot
accuracy
shots.
through volume.
Yeah, exactly. You can do it. But to do it consistently, no freaking way with the Ruger 1022 with open sights. Because this is what I know. A Ruger 1022 with bulk ammo, at best, at 100 yards, is a 2.5-inch group.
Yeah.
At best.
At best.
Okay? 700 yards, you're talking about the best you can do is a 3-foot group.
So it's not going to be consistent.
Yeah.
No. It's and plus with open sights, there's too many variables.
Oh, yeah.
And plus the wind that day.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, dude.
I already knew. I was rooting for the guy. I was like,
We
dude,
were all rooting
I
for
was
the
like,
legend of
please
22, man.
hit it. Please hit it. Please hit it. Even though it would have put me out of a job, but I was like, please hit it. And he didn't. And then, Grand Thumb, after the video was released, he's like, so when you coming down?
Yeah.
I'm like, when you want me to come down?
Dude,
He
you
said-
got to do it.
He said, can you do it at 700? I said, I know dang well can do it at 700. I said,
Wow.
but it
Oh
is
my
not.
God.
It is not going to be with the Ruger 1022 open sights.
It's going to be one of your Volkortsons or
It's
something.
gonna be your own thing.
I will take a voodoo.
Yeah.
And I will hit that mug.
Yeah.
So because I have hit, I've hit 500-yard targets with my Colt Woodsman.
Yeah.
Okay, open sights.
God.
But I have hit 600-yard 8-inch plates with my voodoo pretty consistently.
Oh, I want
dude.
to see that. I really
So,
want to see that.
all right, here's the thing. When we get dry weather, I will be hitting a Coke can kind of leading up to this at 500 yards of the pistol with the 22 pistol.
Pistol,
Dude.
I can do it.
open sight, like iron sights,
Red dot.
red dot.
I'm 44.
I get it. I get it, dude.
So my eyes aren't what they used to be.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I'm just going to go and say it right now. I don't think Classic Firearms is going to, go against me here. If, you would like somebody to sponsor your flight out there and all that stuff, just so we can just be present, just to witness a little bit of Grand Thumb 22 Plinkster collaboration
Okay.
and see that, just let me know when to swipe card.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that. If you guys would like to see that, that's probably they're asking me anything. We're going to be on Grand Thumb.
Yeah,
That's what
I know I can do it.
Yeah.
Because I've shot prairie dogs at 400 yards with a pistol, 22 pistol.
Damn, dude.
I
Like
gotta
pretty
see it.
consistently.
Yeah.
But I can mark my shots. If I know I need to go 10 feet higher, like I shot one at 410 yards of the Scorpion, of a Quartz and Scorpion one time.
Yeah.
And my holdover literally was about 18 feet right and about 25 feet high.
Insane.
And I hit a second shot. I saw the first shot. I saw where it went. And I'm like, boom. I was doing a live podcast when that happened.
No way. That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
I think it was, I forgot what the podcast, pretty good sized podcast. And I had the pistol here, and we just got through shooting all day, and we're sitting there just talking out in the middle of Prairie Dog Field.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this one popped up. I'm like, range me. He said, 410. And I'm like, he said, no way. And I went, at suppressor. And he was like, oh, you're way low left. All right. Boom. And we went over there and got him right in the side of the head.
Bruh.
Dude, I can't wait to see this.
And so
cocaine
put it,
thing.
how effective is 22? It's pretty damn effective. It's
20
in the hands of
hand.
Dave.
22 long rifle. My favorite saying of all time was with Eric, Iraq veteran.
Yeah.
22 long rifle will kill the crap out of you.
Oh yeah, dude! I saw that video between you two. Like,
Yep.
how far will it? How far is it accurate, and how far will it
Yep,
kill?
yep.
I saw those videos. Yeah, those are great, man. So
and
I actually am talking about the effectiveness of 22. I mentioned those videos.
And, like, people don't understand, like, it. Our military still uses 22 long rifle.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Like,
Just,
Secret Service still use, like, other countries still use 22 long rifle. Especially for riot situations.
yeah.
Like, they'll pick out like their knees and their toes and like shoot them and like
Yeah.
stuff. It's
Dude, well, it's a deadly accurate gun.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
yeah,
The
exactly.
very first murder I responded to in 2012, it was.
Well, this went downhill quick.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Kyle
I've never-
just comes in with his law enforcement experience, and it's like, all right, well, this gets dark.
and I knew nothing about guns. Like, even though I was in law enforcement, I just had a pistol, and they taught me how to shoot that. I
Yeah.
knew nothing about, not even rifles at that time, right? And responded to a murder, and the guy was still alive, and he was shot with a 22.
Wait a minute. It's a murder if the guy dies, Kaya.
Exactly. He was still alive when I got to the scene.
Oh, so he ended up
he
passing
died
away.
literally when I was on scene.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, and he was hit 2 times. Once was right in the middle finger, just outside, and believe it or not,
Ow.
it just bounced off, like
Yeah.
ripped his skin. And then other one was right over here,
Yep.
the right under armpit, and went in all the way into his heart. And he was still alive. He's like talking, obviously,
And fading.
and then he just went away.
Yep.
And it was 22, 2 rounds. But one in the torso
Yeah.
area, and he was out. He's done.
You know, and this is for a totally different podcast.
Yeah.
Well, same group of guys, but for a different topic, like 22 for self-defense.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to ask you that
all right,
in the middle of
okay,
this podcast.
You know what? All right, dude. We've got to pause that because I want to have that video. I want to do that when you come and visit.
Okay.
Because I feel like that would be pretty damn cool because we're all here because I've always said like, hey, you know, like, hey, it's low recoil. It's easy to get accurate shots off, tight groups, fast target accusation, and then all sight alignment and everything, and reacquiring your sights. Easy to do with all that. But I also like the idea of having that initial shock of a 9mm, something like that. You know, but you are for 22 for self-defense
In certain cases.
Okay.
I believe if you can handle the recoil of something like 380 or 9mm, you should do it.
Sure.
However, my mom's 72 years old. She has rheumatoid arthritis.
Yep.
She can't hang on to a 9mm. It's not no fault for her,
Yeah.
but she still wants to defend herself. Here's a Ruger SR22 with some stangers.
Stangers,
Yeah,
man.
it's no
The
good if you
Stangers.
can't shoot it, right?
Exactly.
It's no good.
It's way better than a sharp stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
way better. And you know, I tell them I'm like, yeah, you know, the whole knockdown power of firearms is
Right.
a myth.
It is.
Okay. Unless you're shooting something like 1-ounce slugs out of 12 gauge and things like that. But if you're shooting modern 9mm, 124, 147 grain, 380, you're not going to knock anybody down.
Yeah.
You know, you see the old Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry, she shoots it with a 44 Magnum and it flies them
Wow.
20 feet off their feet. That's a myth. You know,
Yeah.
that bullet's going right through them. Now they're going to stumble and stuff like that. And like, oh crap, that hurt. You know, we're dead. But 22 for self-defense. Have I ever carried 22 for self-defense? I may or may not have a Ruger Charger under my seat with a 25-round magazine. That's what I carry as a truck gun. Because this is why. One, I know it can get me out of pinch. I know it's going to be reliable. I'm shooting federal punch out of it. So it's a non-wax bullet. It's made for self-defense. It's screaming just like the Stingers out there, but it performs a little bit different. Two, if I see an armadillo coming down my driveway, I don't have to blow my ears out with a 9mm or a possum or whatever have you. You know, I keep that. Now, I do have Glock 19 in my glove box because ask me why I have a Glock 19 in my glove box.
Why do you have a Glock 19 in your glove box, Dave?
Because if it gets stolen, I can get a Glock on any corner of the street. You think I'm dare going to put an H&K in this truck? No, I'm not. Okay, I carry an H&K. I don't keep it in the truck.
Let me introduce you to High Point.
Yeah, exactly. and Glocks are dependable. They're
Yes.
accurate. They're reliable.
Yeah.
But you can get them anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's why I carry two 33-round Happy Sticks in my Glock
Yeah.
19. And I carry the 25 underneath there for honestly for varmint control.
Yeah.
Because my driveway, you've been down my driveway.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
600 yards long through the woods.
Yeah.
You see critters that sometimes just need to be shot. You know? So that's why I keep it on there.
That's awesome, man. So I know I said we would put a pause on that, but hey, we can still
Oh,
go.
we
We can
hadn't even
elaborate.
touched
Oh,
it.
we can
We haven't even
elaborate
touched it.
so much, guys. So let us know if you're excited for that. Don't forget to hit up the Ask Me Anything. What do you got? You're just
Oh,
checking
I'm
your
sorry.
nails.
I do have a question for
Okay.
you, but you can go. I was literally looking at my nail. Yes, you're right. I need to.
I am A negative, my blood type.
I'm A positive.
You know, speaking like AMA thing, hunting.
Mm-hmm.
If you could hunt anywhere in the world, where would you hunt? And what's your favorite game? Oh yeah, I put you right on the spot.
Well, I would hunt turkey.
That's your
Any-
favorite game.
Favorite animal to hunt
Okay.
is turkey. And if I had my choice to where I would hunt them, which I've hunted them several times, Hell's Canyon, Idaho.
Okay.
Over 1 million acres of
Oh
public land, and they have Merriam's turkey. So there's 4 different kinds of turkeys in North America. There's the Eastern, there's the Rio Grande, there's the Merriam, and there's the Osceola. Osceola is only in Florida, okay? Eastern is pretty much, you know, Kansas, a little bit of Kansas, Missouri, everything east, northeast. And then you've got the Rio, which is the Midwest. You got your Texas, some of Kansas, Oklahoma, states like that. Then you have your Merriam, which is your western birds, California, Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado. Merriams, out of all the birds, Merriams are the dumbest turkeys in the world. So if somebody comes to me and say, "Hey, look at this turkey I killed," and they show me a picture of a Merriam, I'm like, yeah, like
Not impressed.
honestly,
I didn't know that.
honestly, I'll just say it. You can fart and call up one of those birds. They're I didn't want to say it, but honestly, they're a different bird. Like our Easterns are so hard-headed and they lock up and they don't want to come in. They get henned up. They're just stubborn birds. Miriam's the first time I heard one gobble. I was with a guide about 8 years ago, and I always wanted to go to the Black Hills. So I killed my first Miriam looking on the backside of Mount Rushmore.
Oh, that's cool.
And I heard this bird gobble, and I laughed. I laughed. I was like, "Is that a Jake, a young bird?" He said, "No, it's a full-grown bird." And I'm like, and it gobbled again. It was like, gobble, 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 gobble. And like real high pitched. And I'm like, like, what kind of birds do you have here? Like, and he just kept on high pitched gobbling. And I ended up calling him in and shooting him in the face. But, it was just like, you get an Eastern and an Osceola and a Rio when they gobble. It's like a thunderous, like a ground shakes, like, I'm a man, like who's calling at me? And then you get a Miriam's like, gobble, gobble, gobble. And I'm like, all right, come on,
man. I don't
but
even
they're
feel
fun
good
to
about
hunt.
this. Yeah.
They're fun to hunt, and they're probably the prettiest turkey out of all of them is a Miriam. They got the white tail fans. They're just gorgeous birds.
Yeah.
So, and then you can go down to Mexico to the Yucatan and kill an ocellated that they look like a peacock. Have you ever seen an ocellated turkey?
I don't think so.
So an ocellated turkey, ocellated turkey. So this is an ocellated turkey.
This is exciting.
These are from the
Must
Yucatan.
be pretty.
Yeah, so that's an ocellated turkey.
Oh wow! I've never seen that.
Dude,
Before.
I would call that a peacock.
Yeah, it looks a lot
Straight
like
up,
a
I'd say
peacock.
that's a fat peacock.
It looks a lot like a peacock. So those are only in the Yucatan jungle in Mexico.
Wow.
And there's another bird that's in the central part of Mexico or in the hill country of Mexico called a Gould's turkey. So if you kill an ocellated, a Gould's, an Eastern, a Miriam, a Osceola, and a Rio, you have a world slam.
Oh, wow.
You got them
Okay.
all.
Yeah, you have them all. Every species of turkey. So
Have you?
next year I'm going to finish my world slam.
Oh, man, that's
It's
cool.
just
boy.
I'm kind of like I was going to go down last year, but the turkey gun I was using was a Beretta 1301 tactical.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's cool.
I could not get it through customs
Oh.
because it was a tactical shotgun. It's like you need a regular like 870 pump. So I'm like next year, and by the time they told me that, it was too late for me to go during
Right.
turkey season.
Got it.
But next year I will kill an ocellated and a Gould's.
That's
I'll shoot
awesome.
them right
Well,
in the face with TSS.
I vote for
Yeah.
part 2 for this podcast.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do the video. We'll do about 22 for self defense. We'll have you out to the warehouse. We're going to do another part to this podcast featuring the Ask Me Anything questions that you guys are going to ask down to the comment section. Which if there's a little bit of time, that's great because you're going to get a lot of questions.
Well, I'll go ahead and answer one. If you're watching this, I am not on steroids. This body's all natural. That's probably going to be the number one question. It's taken
I don't
years and
believe that.
years to get this physique. You don't wake up one morning and just say, "Hey, I want to look like him." It just happens, you know.
Star's so lucky.
So yeah, she is. So she is. So I'm telling you, it's hard to be humble about it.
So you're more than a pretty face and a Greek god body.
Well, just a little bit more. I shoot turkeys in the face too. So, but yeah, it's. I know that's probably going to be your number one question. And
I can see
I
it.
wanted to go ahead and answer that because, dude, I can just see the comments. It's going to be the same question, and we wouldn't have a podcast to talk about next. So I just went ahead and answered that.
I'm glad you put
Well,
that to
I
rest.
really appreciate it. I'm glad you did that for
Okay,
us
you're welcome.
and the
You're
viewers
welcome.
and listeners.
You're
you know.
welcome. Without them, I wouldn't have a job. So thank you guys.
Yeah, and I think I should just trademark the. I think we can start wrapping it up, and then 45 minutes later,
Yep.
we finally get to the conclusion. But
sorry, I like to talk. ADD
dude,
squirrel.
no,
I love it.
This is
It's
perfect. This is exactly what we want because it's us having a good time, and I hope our listeners enjoy it too because they're sitting here in this room. They just don't know it. you
Yeah,
know?
they are.
That's-
Absolutely.
That's all there is to it, man. So, Dave, dude, thank you so much.
Oh, you're
22
welcome.
Plinkster. Before we sign off, though, social media, where can everybody find you?
It's pretty hard. It's just 22 Plinkster. So 22 PLINKSTER on the Instagrams, on the YouTube, on the Facebook, and on the Twitter. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, don't follow me on Twitter because I don't look at it. So I'm just being honest with you. I got like 20,000 followers there, and I haven't looked at it in months.
With as much as you love birds, you would have thought.
Yeah, but I can't shoot that one in the face.
Fair enough.
So
Dave, thanks again, man.
No, you're
Appreciate
welcome.
you coming
Thank you
out.
for
dude.
having me.
Oh,
So-
absolutely.
thank you, bud.
And guys, we'll see you next time on the CF Podcast. God bless.